Well, that's
oh
literally.
my God, we're on there.
That's literally what
Perfect.
people saw for the opening. Was you doing a spit take?
Oh, we're on.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club. We have a very special. If we just cut to the wide, so you probably already see we have a very special guest, the one, the only Teri Hatcher. And the Muppets Go Wild.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here. I finally have somebody to talk to about my secret passions.
That is like the central idea of the show.
Of this show,
really,
yeah.
you've nailed
Did I
it
just
immediately.
nail it?
Yes,
Okay, all
thank
right,
you.
good.
Can we put that on T-shirts? Would that be wrong?
Yes, somebody did. Right, no, a place to talk about your secret passions.
The Wednesday Club.
The Wednesday
Yeah.
Club. Yeah. Yeah, and it's got like the rainbow star, the more you know star.
Your
But
secret
it's a comic
passions.
book at the end of it, at the end of the star.
And that just says your secret passion.
Get on it, audience.
It's already done.
Make
They're
that,
already-
yeah, they're already
it's-
working on
it's
it. We're
already
going to
in
have
the
that
chat.
shirt mailed to us in a couple weeks.
Chad is very happy to see you.
Of course, how could they not be? Yeah. Welcome to the Wednesday Club, where we talk about our secret passions every single Wednesday, as Terry so succinctly put it. I'm Matt Key. I'm joined, as always, by my other club mates.
Amy Dallen.
Taliesin Jaffe.
And new clubmate, Teri Hatcher. So we're going to be getting into Saga,
Very excited.
like your choice.
That was my choice. They asked me if I had a choice, and that was what I picked.
Yeah, you know our rule that we always follow.
What did you say?
I said I love the future.
Oh, yay.
People to talk about Brian Vaughan comics with.
We've been waiting for this one. We've had this on hold for a long. We've been
Really?
talking about doing this episode for over a year now.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait for the right moment.
Because
Oh my gosh, I feel so lucky, but I kind of feel like it's something you'd be talking about all the time.
It comes up a lot.
comes up
it comes up a lot.
And we've done a spotlight on the writer before, where we did a lot of his different work, but I don't know if we've ever done one that's officially Saga.
No,
Okay.
it was very much. We were going to wait till someone brings this to us because it was very much somebody will bring this and this.
And I'm the one.
And you're the one.
Yeah.
You are the one.
Well, I thought it would be perfect because the book 9 comes out next week. And so I don't know how you guys are, but okay, so first of all, I always wait for the book because I'm a binger.
So you love Netflix.
Yes, but and it made regular television very hard for me because I had no patience to wait from the week to the next week.
Yeah.
And then I'd get so busy I would forgot what happened last week, and then whatever. So it's just much better for me to get it all.
Get it all at once, and then take a break, then get it all at once again.
Yeah, I don't love the break. I wish, I especially not loving the one that we're about to get with this comic. But anyway, I do understand. I respectfully understand, but I'm heartbroken. But that said, so I have been rereading everything from the beginning in anticipation of getting my, I guess, kind of at least sort of semi-permanent finale next week.
Yeah, a finale of a kind. Luckily not the forever finale.
Hopefully not the.
The book is going on hiatus for a year.
Around a year-ish. Yeah, Brian K. Vaughan will typically take a few months off between story arcs, but this time he's taking
Which is a model
very
that they
long.
developed over the course of this series, which has been an interesting thing, is that like the monthly comic grind, there's a long tradition of comics sort of ending up taking gaps, but there is less of a long tradition of somebody kind of planning out like all right, 8 months on, 4 months off, 8 months on, 4 months off, or whatever. In this case, it was usually, I guess, 6 months on, 4 months.
Like a quarter.
A month off, then a trade, then a month off again, and then it would come back. And that was what they planned sort of over the, I was fascinated by that just because working at a shop, we saw this sort of like, it let the series go on a much longer, basically uninterrupted or at least predictable schedule. Because we're used to either things being rushed forward with fill-in artists.
Okay.
Because you need to get the issue out so somebody else steps in when the artist can't finish. Or you're used to indies that you just literally wait on for years as they work on the next issue.
Right.
But there's really no way to ever tell when that's going to happen. There are some books that take 30 years.
Could happen any time. It could be a new issue any day. You never know.
And some of those books end up being very much worth the wait. But the Saga was the first one that had this sort of like, you can basically count on it happening in this pattern until this upcoming break. This has been.
So-
It's crazy when you're that into it. Like I live downtown Los Angeles next to a comic book store called Quest.
I've heard the best things about the shop. What is it like?
It's just beautiful. I mean, just the space, the energy of it is amazing, and everyone who works there is super friendly. And they were kind of, quite honestly, I guess, you know, it had a lot to do with me getting into comics, specifically Saga, for sure. That was a recommendation. I sort of went searching for female characters. I was interested to explore that, and this was one of the ones that came up as a strong female character. But anyway, I was walking by there not that long ago, and like they had it in the window, like the new, something about when the new issue was coming out. And I was with my daughter, who's like 20 years old, and who's not into comic books. And we were walking by, and literally like a little kid, I was like, oh, it's coming out. Like, you know, like she was just like, are you okay, Mom? I'm like, no, they're good. It's gonna, you know, like.
It's so good, it's so good.
It's so good. Oh, she's like, do you need to go buy it? I'm, no, it's not.
It's not out yet, it's not out. Listen, you don't understand how comic books work, daughter, but it's not out yet.
It's not out yet. I can't get it.
Oh, that's fabulous.
My friend Ricky Simon says, "Shh, I'm reading my stories."
Oh, they're like, they're just comfort. I don't know. I read them in the bathtub. I read them on the plane, in bed, by the pool, whatever. I don't know. When they're the right story for you, they're really fun.
And for a long time, it's been sort of like, to be a comic book fan has felt like, unfortunately, having this very well-kept secret where you kind of want to run out in the world and be like, you would love this, probably. There's a really good chance. If we find the right book, you would love this. Yeah. But it's hard to cross that distance. So bless you, the people at a shop called Quest.
No, they're awesome. They're awesome. I also read graphic novels, and I also read just fiction. But there's definitely a special place for comic books, and I actually like the ones that aren't about all the superheroes that we're seeing in all the movies. It's fun to have something different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
I like it. I mean, yeah, we mainline it all.
And we live in a really good time for a bunch of those other stories. Like, we love the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
We love, like, the classic icons are generally iconic for a reason.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, like, it's just
historical books.
Just like books.
Vampire
books aren't
books.
a genre. Books are a whole kind of, you can have nonfiction books and crime books and romance books and, like, every possible thing that you can do with words. So it feels good to feel like we're getting there.
Yeah, and
then whatever this is.
Whatever the hell this is.
What genre would you call Saga?
Well, gosh, I don't. What would you call it?
It's so hard to describe.
No idea.
I mean, I've always referred to it as like space fantasy. It's
super futuristic fantasy.
Yeah.
But it's also, I was telling you this before, I think it's so adult. Yeah. It's very adult.
Mature content warning on this whole episode.
Yeah, it's very adult. But it's so representative of just every piece of humanity. Everything that you want to be talked about in the news, everything that we're like afraid to talk about or whatever, it somehow gets represented. The same problems that we're dealing with are represented in there. It's kind of amazing to me. I mean, I find myself flipping the page and going, oh my God, this is exactly what's happening right now, you know.
This is going to probably sound silly, but you know there's the old quote from Terence, the Roman playwright, that said, "Nothing human is alien to me." I feel like Saga is like, nothing alien is alien to and
Yeah, right.
Or
totally.
everything alien is human.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's even a line
both of those work. They could also be on shirts.
And those all somehow, despite being not the same thing, all describe Saga.
Yeah.
Well, and it moves so quickly through tone and pace, and like it goes from this like violent, war-torn, intense political struggle to what I can only describe as a suburban melodrama at breakneck speed. I didn't even like really feel the shift. It also, I've been thinking a lot about the sort of stuff that I read as a teenager. I was raised, this has come up a lot recently, on a lot of pop 60s movies and books. And it feels a lot like the stuff I was reading as a kid. This like the movie Oh Lucky Man just was recently brought back.
What is Oh Lucky Man?
Oh God, God only knows. It's probably unwatchable at this point for many reasons. But it's a movie. It's like a 4-hour-long movie about just this man who starts with a job at a company, and then the company explodes, and he ends up being interrogated by the government, and eventually saved, and ends up at an orphanage. And it's just a series of like weird escapades that don't make any goddamn sense. and sort of this kind of sporadic, very intense storytelling. And this was common in a lot of the things I grew up with. This was these large, epic stories that kind of went from one vignette to the next. But this has taken that kind of such a 21st century sensibility to that. It's found the design of all these books that I loved, and all of these this kind of pop. The science fiction one I'm thinking of right now is a Fantastic Planet. I don't know.
You've mentioned it to
I know.
us before.
It's this very strange animated movie with giant blue people and lots of
the Kree.
sex. Yes, except they're all naked, and it's very strange. But like taking a 21st century sensibility to all that, and kind of bringing that into this future that we have, where we're so much more interconnected with each other and so much more ready to experience each other's realities. And boy, Saga just hits all that so brilliantly.
Yeah.
It really does. Before we get any further into Saga, I would love to talk about...
You're literally putting it down.
Put it down.
To start reading it.
Stop, Taliesin, stop!
I'll be over here. Excuse me.
It's so pretty too.
It's beautiful.
It's so well.
This team is
so well drawn and such great dialogue, and I mean, really, it's just because, like I said, I just reread it again, and I just found myself going like, "What? This is so good."
It's bafflingly good.
It's really baffling.
It's not right how good it is. It's
Yeah,
like
it's-
Brian K. Vaughan sold his soul to someone.
It's
Like
As did Fiona Staples.
as did Fiona
clearly.
Staples,
It's
exactly.
really good.
And just checking, because I also reread the whole thing this weekend. Oof. Did you go? I can't remember. Did you go just to volume 8, or did you go through the single issues? Did you not burn through whatever single issues?
You're waiting on the
I haven't.
paperback,
No,
right?
I haven't. I've only through 8, so I've got.
There will be no spoilers in that direction. Then.
Thank you. I appreciate
But
that.
you will not be disappointed by volume.
Okay.
Boy.
I'm excited. I'm excited and almost like my palms sweating. Like, you know, like you want to read it, but you don't want to. You know, you don't want to finish it because then it's over.
Well, and also Brian K. Vaughan is one of those like. He's one of those writers who's not afraid to
Break your heart into 10,000 pieces.
break your heart.
Yeah.
And like there's so many issues where you're just like, did he just? No, not that. Oh God, not that one.
Remember in like I don't know, the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones when the one guy got his head cut off, Ned,
yeah.
got his head, and you're just like
the penultimate
they
episode.
can't,
I think.
That's against the rules.
They cannot have just done that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's sort of what it feels, which is great.
Saga's very much
that sort of all bets are off thing is actually really fun, but it's also just you're just devastated.
But that's why you're always frightened to read more Saga, even though you really need to know what happens.
Yeah, you're like, this is such a good story. Please don't kill that character. Please do not kill. Not that one. Not that one. So before we get any further,
Okay.
We're going to challenge this because it's not baffling enough just to talk about this. We're adding.
we want to talk about you also, and like you've got your YouTube channel.
Okay.
That's called Hatching Change.
Yes.
You have a show. I don't remember the full title of the show, but it's like "Don't Eat It Out of a Box."
Yeah, it's don't eat it out of a but it is it really is like asterisk it, you know, asterisk it.
Yeah, none of that
So
ish
don't-
from the box.
Yeah.
So don't eat shit out of a box.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't want to say shit too much on YouTube or
No, fair.
Yeah,
fair.
you know,
No, I'm with you. I understand.
and
We're on Twitch, though. It's
We
fine.
We're on Twitch. We can say shit all we want. Hi, Mom and Dad.
See if
so
they're in
yeah,
chat.
so I started this YouTube channel called Hatching Change, which really was, I guess, brought out of the last, year or so of feeling a lot of anxiety in society and a lot of divisiveness and just wanting to have a place where I felt like I could do my little tiny bit to put out something positive that people might be able to find. And so I'm doing that in 2 forms. One is with food and trying to help people eat more healthfully. And the other is with communication. So I've had this vintage VW bus.
I wish we could have driven it onto set somehow.
It's
beautiful.
It's really, thank you. I've had it for almost 20 years now. It's a '78 VW bus camper, and it's olive green. Yeah, and I sewed Scooby-Doo curtains into it when my daughter was like 6.
No, the very first episode I saw of it, I was like, oh, Taliesin.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely my aesthetic.
Oh, it's really, Seriously, and I mean, it's such an icebreaker. Like, when I'm driving down the freeway at, by the way, 45 miles an hour, because that's all the car does. But, you know, people wave or, you know, can I buy that car? Like, people just love the car. And knowing that, I when we were shooting the food part of my YouTube channel, I was with the guys that were the camera guys, and I said, and the van was just parked in the driveway, and I said, we should just drive the car down to Ventura Boulevard and just see if people want to get in it and just talk to me about life. And they were like, that's a good idea. And then we decided to call it van therapy. And which I always think it's not me being the therapist, it's getting in the van is the therapy. And
or
it
like
really,
aromatherapy, like a thing that soaks into you.
It really is. It's like the simplicity and the nostalgia and the sort of just, I don't know, piece of it. Yes, it's also what I have to say and sharing with me, but it's just kind of the energy of the whole thing. So I started traveling around and shooting episodes of that, and I've just had such a great time meeting people. And I mean, I think that maybe one of the biggest things, I had a 21-year-old kid talk to me about being bisexual and coming out to his father, who was a general in the Army in like the Carolinas, and what was that like. And then I've had people talk to me about, you know, what kind of mascara they should wear. You know, like the range is huge, but it's just this idea of you never know what you're gonna find from a stranger. And there's so many of us that like you think like, oh, we would never talk. If we were just like walking down the street, like you might not talk, you might think, oh, I have nothing to say to her and I'm not gonna have anything in common with them. But then the van sort of forces us to be in this place where we discover that we're just all human, and we're just all kind of worried about the same things, and
we all have the same fears.
Yeah.
We all have hopes and dreams.
Yeah, and all of it. So, and sometimes we solve some problems, and sometimes I give up some good advice, and
sometimes you start problems,
and sometimes and sometimes people give me advice, which I'm always growing and learning, and so I'm doing van therapy, and then I'm doing don't eat shit out of a box, and that.
Which you can say on our show.
I can say it, yeah. And that came from, and I kind of want to be clear that it's not, so all the statistics on processed food is really, you know, it's not about weight. It's, you know, the things you should be doing, you should be exercising, and you should be eating real food as much as you can, vegetables, fruit, you know, real food. And so when I was watching this documentary called Fed Up a couple years ago, which is really about hidden sugars in food, there was this poor kid who was obese, diagnosed obese, and he was talking to the camera about how much trouble he was having losing weight, and he was at the same time had his big glass of orange juice and his peanut butter on Wonder Bread and his cereal that was coming out of the box, and he was talking about how he wasn't losing weight, and I just screamed at the television, like by myself in my living room, just don't eat shit out of a box. And I thought, okay, maybe that's a really good place to start. And I could try to teach people in not fancy chef way and not expensive, but like in a real way, a different option. Because I get that like there's a time to have Lucky Charms at 11 o'clock at night while you're watching Saturday Night Live. Like, I'm not trying to say you can never have anything processed ever again. Yeah, right? Yeah. Totally.
But you want people to have the skills so that that's an option.
But I want people to know that there's something else, and I don't want them to necessarily think just because a package says it's a, you know, healthy start, you know, or a granola bar might have 16 grams of sugar in it. So I just want you to know that. So I started trying to make food to offer people a different choice.
I will admit that I have a few different granola bars that I'm big fans of, and I'm always like, that's a granola bar, like it's safe.
Right.
And then like a couple, probably about 2 months ago, I started watching your Don't Eat Shit Out of a Box.
Okay.
And like, look at the label, sugar, 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 and I went back and looked at those, and I was like, oh, Teri Hatcher, you ruined you ruined this granola bar for me.
I'm so sorry.
Already sugar, man. Sugar's the beast.
It's in everything. Like I'd already been looking for like corn syrup and stuff like that, you know, like fructose. But like I wasn't looking at the gram count of the sugars.
I mean, the problem is, you know, not to get like too political and heavy or whatever, but I was just reading an article today. I mean, the problem is that we sort of subsidize corn and soy and sugar industries in a way that makes vegetables and fruit, which are not subsidized as much, if at all, more expensive. And so we're making the price point, we're making the crappy food
less expensive,
and the healthier food more expensive, and we're doing that, you know, and so it just makes it hard for people, and that's a bummer and not okay, and I hope to be part of changing that. But
I get a cheap box of vegetables called Ugly Vegetables, if I recall. Ugly Produce. I really enjoy it. It's just all stuff that was rejected by the supermarket because it looks funny.
Do you know what? Sometimes I want to do an episode about that, where you go and you look for food that's like on the sale rack, because if you're getting bruised tomatoes, and I can show you how to roast them in the oven really, really easily. I mean, literally, it's not a chefy thing, but it just turns them into like caramel yumminess, and who gives a shit what they looked like before? It's fine that they're 2 days older, and you can find sale stuff like that, and if you know what to do with it, then you can, you know, eat really good food. But look at me going on and on about it.
No, that's why we have you. This is great.
It is interesting, like, because I am not an expert in these fields, I have tended to be sort of suspicious of diets and some claims about, like, you know, when you get into some areas of products, like natural is, like, in some areas of science, natural isn't necessarily better than other things, and there are good reasons for these adaptations. But the idea of being equipped with a set of better choices, or having more information about how things have ended up in the boxes that I buy, that I stick in my freezer and then microwave, like, that's a good thing. That's an awesome thing.
I have to get you a hold of her, because I want to get you. I want to teach you something other to do than go to your freezer and put it in the microwave. That just makes me like, oh, don't do that, don't do that.
Well, step one, it's already past midnight. What do we do for food?
What do you do when it's already past midnight? Okay, well, I mean, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to make more episodes, because I do cook for myself. I'm single, and shout out, I'm single. Okay, yeah, did anybody light up there on your little pad?
30 seconds, they're gonna go nuts.
Okay, so I'm single, and my daughter's now off at college, so I am home alone a lot.
Congratulations, by the way.
I'm very proud of her. Yeah, is that what you meant? Congratulations too, or just that I'm
out
alone?
of college.
Yeah, she's out. Yeah, no.
Good job.
Yeah, I don't think she was saying congrats on being home alone.
Well, you know, but there's not. I'm good with being alone. It's cool. Like, I'm okay. I think it's a good skill set to be able to be happy alone. But anyway, and I'm not alone. I have friends. Okay. Oh my gosh. I have friends. Okay. Anyway, but even my own mother would say to me sometimes, "You cook dinner for yourself, like you actually cook dinner for yourself." I'm like, "Yeah, I do, because I make things that I can make." And like last night, I made a portobello bison burger for myself. So I used
That's a thing someone can make on their own?
Yeah. So easily.
I'm feeling okay now.
So
I feel like so not an adult right now.
And it was delicious. So I had the bison burger. I put a little strip of really thin goat cheese on it with caramelized onions, some avocado, and then the 2 portobello mushrooms were the buns.
Oh my gosh.
And it took me about 25 minutes to make it, and then I sat down and watched 4 episodes of Mindhunter or whatever.
This is why you get to be on QI and the rest of us don't.
You are all about QI.
I'm never gonna get over this.
By the way,
it was so great. I mean, Sandy Toxvig is just the most brilliant person ever. I love her, and all of them, all of the comedians on there. It was scary to try to, be in a position where you're going to try to keep up with comedians.
But you had one of the first big, because I watched the first half of it. You had what was the answer?
Actually, you said, because suddenly occurs to me that this is the Wednesday Club. For those of you who don't know, QI.
QI?
This is
I'm so sorry. For those of you who don't know,
to explain things and then we forget.
QI is a British television show. It is kind of a quiz show in the sense that there are points that are somehow awarded, but it's kind of a mystery as to how. Where it's just very charming, intelligent people being charming and intelligent at each other. by alphabet letter by series. It's very hard to describe. I recommend just look it up on YouTube, QI. Just pick a random episode. Just go for it. It's
or pick mine.
Or pick
mine.
Yeah.
Go watch Teri Hatcher.
But it's super entertaining, but also trivia informative.
You learn a lot.
You know, you're gonna learn stuff because it's actual. It's not like silly. It's silly because it's fun, but it is actual fact.
It is actually. Yeah, no, you come away knowing an awful lot of stuff, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's very British.
It is very British.
Would you say it's quite interesting?
Yeah.
You did just say it's quite nice.
It's quite
That was
nice.
your description of the show.
Well,
that's a different show.
And what's his? I'm blanking on his name, but the gentleman who's always there.
Is it Alan?
Alan.
Yeah.
Alan was originally there kind of to be kind of the inevitable buffoon. He was originally, and they're in season 14, and I feel like he's struggling to be the buffoon now because he's had 13 years of this show, and I think he's gotten smarter, and it's just harder for him to just kind of be
an idiot
dope
anymore.
about it. Every now and then he's like, "Oh no, I know this," and you're like, "No, you're not supposed to."
You're not supposed to know it. You're the punchline.
So how did that come about?
Sandy and I met. I cooked on the Great British Bake Off for stand up for
I did.
cancer.
I know. I saw that in the listing and had forgotten to freak out at you about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I did and won Chopped for charity for juvenile arthritis. I was playing for juvenile arthritis, so I did that, and then I got asked to do the Great British Bake Off for charity for Stand Up to Cancer, and I did that, and I won that too. And that's how Sandy and I met, and then we just kind of like had a big love fest, and then she asked me to do QI, and so I did.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's just a lot. I have a. Yeah.
You can ask me anything.
Oh no, I have a big crush on Mary Berry, so it's like a whole thing.
She wasn't there. She wasn't there when I did it. It's now they're now on
crush.
to Prue and Paul Hollywood.
Who
is
I
still
also
there.
love. I mean, like,
but they're all
God.
They're so fabulous.
Yeah, my lovely wife and I just finished the first season that's available on Netflix, and are just all about it. We like the only reason we stopped was because we were like, we should probably watch Barry because we haven't watched Barry yet on HBO. So
That's really good.
We binged that over the weekend.
Yeah, that's
and
a great show.
It's an incredible show.
Which
I
he
saw
should have.
it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We are-
That's such
I
a
haven't
great
watched that
Yeah,
yet.
we are-
it's great.
We are so far
It's really
gone.
great.
I
We're
knew
so
this.
far gone.
I was prepared to be so far gone.
But the Great British Bake Off, I don't know if anybody watches it.
I would
but
assume with our audience that you guys are watching.
So my daughter and I started watching it years ago on Netflix, like when you could get it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think it was, again, to talk about the sort of energy of the last couple of years in society. It was such a great place. It was such a great place to go where people were nice to each other. It was like, I used to kind of call, I mean, this probably doesn't sound right, but it was like Xanax or something, like watching it. You know, it was just like everyone was saying, can I help you with your cake?
Yeah, like the contestants are helping each other. Like,
and I don't know, it was just all so, in the white tent and the whole thing. I mean, we were just obsessed with it. So it was kind of a funny thing that they asked me to be a part of the charity episode, and my publicist called me, and I think they were sort of like, you're not going to want to do this for, you know, like that kind of thing, like it's a big ask or something. And the second they said, you know, do you want to be on that? I was like, oh my God. I emailed, I texted my daughter at college. She was at college, and I was like, you're not going to believe they just had it. She's like, what the fuck? Like, whatever. Like, we were, it was insane. It was insane.
So this was my introduction to the show, was when this story went around that maybe is well known to everyone, but I guess someone was trying to explain the appeal of the show. And they explained it in terms of this story about the two women who used to host it. Sue.
Yeah, now it's Sandy. No, Sue and it's horrible.
But the women who were hosts of the show, that like the way they were describing the show is that it was a competitive reality show about cooking, but it was the kind of place where this happened. And they said essentially that according to people who were on set, when someone would get too upset or start crying, one of the hosts would stand in front of the camera and start swearing loudly so that the footage would be spoiled.
Oh, that's funny.
So if that person was really just losing it, it became unusable.
Yeah.
And it kind of sort of protected
That's
them.
amazing.
Not that it sounds as if no one would have been looking to cut it in a predatory way anyway.
Yeah.
But just that I remember hearing that story going around and going, who are these people? That's so sweet.
I never witnessed anything. I mean, again, we were doing the celebrity episode, so it's different. But everything is so camaraderie, you know, it's just, and the hosts are on your side, and even the judges are like, you know, on your side still, you know? Like,
yeah. And like one of the, like, I don't know if it changes in later seasons because we've only seen, I think like maybe season 5 is the first one.
I don't think it really, I mean, the hosts changed and the judge, one judge changed.
But like I don't think it's in like that beautiful like white tent in like the middle of this beautiful garden. Was that where you were?
Well, we were in the white tent, like the same exact way. They shot ours at Pinewood Studios in England. So they still put the white tent, and Pinewood Studios is gigantic. And so we were off in some green, you know, pine trees and whatever. I think when they shoot the show, they are actually 2 hours outside of London in, you know, Yorkshire or somewhere. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but and they go to that, I think, week after week. Yeah. For a couple of months.
Yeah, my wife, my lovely wife and I just like watched the finale to that one season, and it was like, oh yes, and we invited all the past contestants to come out and cheer on their old comrades, and it's just like, this would never happen in America. Like,
I just remember having like a mild flu and going, oh God, BBC is making Geek and Sundry content. That's really nice. That's so nice.
Just gentle shows about people doing their best.
This is so gentle.
And helping each other out despite the fact that it's a competition. It's like, oh, you might beat me this episode, but you're bread. I can help you with this.
Yeah, no, and that's even on my episode. Alan Carr was one of the people in my episode, and he was not a baker at all, but it was great that he was there for the charity. But he didn't know how to make custard, and so I was like running over making his custard, and you know, just it was, we were all there for each other. Yeah.
What did you? May I ask what you ended up making? Do you remember?
Oh
like,
yeah.
What the bake was?
Do I remember?
I assume that you do.
I have it tattooed on my. No, I just. Yeah. No. So the way it works is there's 2 categories that they give you in advance. The signature one at the beginning, and then the showstopper at the end. And ours were, you were just told you have to make 12 identical muffins. That was our signature thing. And they could be savory or sweet. And then the showstopper one was we had to make a rainbow cake, and the parameters were it had to be at least 2 tiers, at least 6 layers, and you had to represent all the colors of the rainbow. That was that was your kind of jumping off point, and then you could do whatever you wanted to do with that. Of course, I'm a massive overachiever, so I did 12 layers and 2 tiers.
Seems perfectly
reasonable. You know, whatever. And then the middle one is a surprise, the technical challenge.
The technical challenge.
I'm such a puzzle solver that I was like, okay, if we're doing muffins, this is me 2 weeks before I went to do the thing, you know, you're practicing, whatever. Like, okay, if we're doing muffins for that, then the middle, it can't be cookies, because, you know, that's too easy. It can't be croissants because we don't have enough time. Like, I'm just like, what could it be? What could it? And if we're doing cake at the end, then it's not going to be cake. And you know, and I guessed it was going to be a custard pie, and it was.
No.
Yeah.
You guessed custard pie, and you were right?
Yeah. Because I was just thinking,
I feel like it would be dangerous to play board games with.
I probably would be.
We have a lot
There's only
of board
one way
games.
to find out, to be fair.
I'm just saying.
But, yeah.
They're right over there.
I love games. Let's see, what are the games? We play categories. We play a lot of categories. Well, my parents and I just played Scrabble the other night, like the actual, like, not on the iPad, but like with the actual game.
Yeah.
I'm a cribbage player, believe it or not. Nobody ever plays cribbage or knows how to play cribbage. It's an old-fashioned
It's a lot,
card
that game.
I don't know cribbage.
I love cribbage. Oh.
I do not.
You do not love cribbage?
No, I mean, like, I couldn't grasp it. It was a lot.
It's a card game, so once you know.
I had an aunt who played it, and it was like, there's a lot happening here.
Then let's see, what else do we play? I don't know, if you, Yahtzee. Yeah, Battleship.
We go deep.
We have a wall.
We have a wall. We'll take you to the wall.
We'll show you the wall. We'll show you the wall. We have an entire games
We
library.
have a whole group coming in to play Weave later, which we'll.
That I don't know. I don't know what that is.
That's a whole thing. We'll may have to show
that's
that
a whole other show.
Have you? I can't resist now. Have you ever tried Dungeons and Dragons?
I knew you were gonna. No, I haven't.
Just checking.
I know. I should probably. I haven't.
There's a lot of problem solving and creativity.
Really?
I'm just saying.
You would probably love it.
Really?
Hint, hint.
Okay. All right. Well, I probably would. It seems a little overwhelming. But
not a
it's just because I don't
it
know what
depends
it
who
is.
you play with, and there are other games that are sort of like
can then.
It's probably the cribbage of games where there are alternatives where it's like this one has fewer rules or is more easy to pick up and put down. Okay. But it also, if you have the right group, is very easy. And this this is not a D&D sales pitch, I promise.
Isn't it though? Isn't it? Let's be fair.
But you can't volunteer being great at puzzle solving and then expect us not to jump.
Well, I think I am a pretty good puzzle
we're gonna have to throw some things at you. Just this is Dread. Check it out. It's cool.
Speaking of things to throw at us, can we?
Do you want to?
I want to do it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm only saying this because I feel like I have to introduce it. You brought food for us.
Oh yes, chat. By the way,
I can see it, which is the reason I'm the one
see, my back is to it.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at it because what she described before
the
sounds
internet
amazing.
just saw me complaining that I haven't been able to eat while having any of my fun in quite a while. So I'm
Okay, I'm gonna get it.
Perfect timing.
Oh, okay, you're gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it.
By the way, and while she's getting it, show off your shoes really quickly. Just really.
Those
Wow.
are cute. What are
Oh
those?
my God, the trailer!
Thank you.
We haven't talked about the trailer.
These are shoes that they made to celebrate a superhero, Captain Marvel, who just got her movie trailer dropped yesterday.
I saw that trailer. It's amazing.
I'm very excited about it.
Shoes.
I have never owned shoes this nice.
Those are awesome.
They are beyond
They
my
are the perfect shoes for
comprehension.
you.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is her little symbol.
Those are super cute.
They make me very happy. Thank you very,
Wow.
very, very
And they're
much.
also like, if you like were tired on Halloween, you could just put those on and just claim that that's your
Well,
Yes,
she has a
casual Carol.
She has a matching jacket. She has a pull-out. There's
wow. Are
probably
you
3 or 4
excited
out.
about that movie?
I am very excited, in part because I have been a comic book nerd my whole life, and
Okay.
there was many, many years where they did not make cool special shoes for female nerds. That was not a thing.
Okay.
They didn't really put comic book stuff on shoes that much anyway, and if they did, it was guy sizes only. And so I'm really enjoying, although I wish that they tragically went too far, and these were only available in women's sizes, and it was sad.
I would have bought a pair.
Yeah, I would have bought a pair.
a lot of people who would have bought the shoes.
Absolutely bought a pair.
You can make money on things with women in it. Did you know?
I really kind of want to go all in for some Captain Marvel merchandise this year. I think I'm feeling like it's going to go. I'm going to go all in.
Our friend at Hero Within,
yes,
who we're going to do a fashion show with at some point.
I may have a conversation about like the green and black, green and white maybe.
Yeah, he's the one who has the Wonder Woman jacket, and I want the hell out of that jacket.
Yeah, that denim Wonder Woman jacket.
But it does come in dude sizes.
No, it does.
That one is.
No, I know.
Specific.
But like, it's just another example of like, who cares if what the gender of the hero is? Like, they're a hero.
We're gonna be doing well, maybe.
Yeah,
we're working on something.
Yeah, working on another surprise for a soon-to-be episode.
So speaking of working on,
Okay,
so walk us through this.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm making for you, and
Marvel shoes, good.
if my shopping and stuff goes on a long time, we can go back to talking about Marvel or whatever. I mean Captain Marvel.
Oh no, absolutely.
We have Captain Marvel. We also
are
eventually
accurate.
have Saga. Saga coming back.
Okay, so in my show, in the Just Don't Eat Out of the Box, I try to offer you ideas about stuff that's quick and healthy and good. So what I thought I could bring for you guys, I was thinking like with reading comic books or sometimes just, video games, whatever, that can be a place where you get sucked into eating junk, because you're kind of with the comic book and then you're just taking the bag of chips and eating
Minimal effort.
So what I like about this thing that I'm going to make for you guys is that there's a crunch factor to it, and it's easy. No, I think I've never actually chopped on my lap, but I brought all this from my home because I just felt like this would be fun.
And so we offered her a table, but she was like, "I got this. I can do this."
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at that murder knife, and I'm just like,
is that
amazing.
Is that a bloody Damascus knife that you have there?
This is it's some good
It
knife.
looks like
I don't know what it is.
steel,
But
yeah.
It's Damascus knife.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
It comes with its own sound effects. Oh wait. Look, there we go. I gotta fix my cleavage. I just saw a close-up of my cleavage. It was too much. Put those babies away. Okay.
Step one.
Put the babies away. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm making for you guys is I'm making a salmon salad romaine taco. So I'm using salmon sustainably caught salmon out of a can, and then it's just going to be some chopped shallots, some chopped pickle, some chopped jalapeno, lemon, a little plain Greek yogurt. So again, keeping all the sugar load, no sugar, all fresh stuff, salt, pepper in the romaine. So very healthy, very easy, not expensive. So okay, if you're interested at all, you might be. Onions and shallots, like the proper way to cut them so that you're dicing them. You didn't know you were doing a cooking show, did you?
No.
Cooking and comics. That's what this is.
Cooking and comics.
Cooking and comics. Okay, so you're gonna slice across first. So you're making little layers there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to slice down.
Ooh.
But keeping the end of it attached. And then you're going to slice down the whole thing. And then when you do that, see, it's like already like diced. So I'm going to kind of, now again, I'm just sort of doing this.
That look very easy.
I made that look easy. Okay,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to, if you could hold
That part would
this.
take me 5 minutes.
Okay, we're going to
Ask
put
my
that.
wife. She's
This
watched
is the
me do
point at
it.
which I'm going to say, what is the address for the YouTube channel where people can watch all of this?
Is it gonna pop in?
It's Hatch and Change, I guess, right? That on YouTube, Hatch
It'll
and
probably
Change.
pop up in the
Yeah, if you
chat.
just go to YouTube and type in Hatching Change, you'll find the entire channel there. And Ms. Hatcher has a lot of cooking there, and she has her van therapy there.
Yes,
so,
I
yeah.
do. Thanks for the plug, guys.
Oh,
Shameless plug.
No, I legitimately enjoyed all the content there.
I used to have a friend with one of those classic VW camper buses, and he said the joke was I'm always happy to help you do anything except probably go to Pasadena. Which is a very LA joke because his van would not make it over the hill.
Right,
Yep.
right.
To save his life.
It really is something. You know what I did?
Terry will never visit me.
He's never been to Pasadena.
That's what my wife and I
Okay, what
did.
I just did here, by the way, is I just diced up a pickle, and basically you just want to have like thin slices, and then you go that way one, and then you dice it this way. Like I have to teach you all how to dice, but anyway.
You do.
I
You
do. I have to teach you how to dice.
You have to teach us all
I
how
mean,
to-
that's okay. I don't have a problem with teaching anybody anything, but I don't want to like underestimate your abilities.
I love that you've done this, by the way, that a lot of us have shouted at TVs for a lot of reasons, but I think very few of us have taken that impulse and been like, here's a way that I can use the things that I know and the resources that I have and experience being fantastic at entertainment and combine all those things to actually make the world a bit better. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I hope it is. I mean, it seems like, okay, so right now I'm doing a jalapeno.
Yeah.
I hope you guys like a little heat. I like a little heat.
yeah, love it.
And so what I've done is I've cut it in half, and I'm getting out some of the seeds because that's, we don't really like that, and there's actually extra heat in that we don't need. So again, just dicing this up small. I know, it's just, we can keep.
You know what I love about what you're doing also is.
And do you want a little garlic?
Oh yeah.
Oh
always.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna do
there's-
1 clove of garlic.
There's a problem that we have in the comic book circle where people, usually men, presume that someone else doesn't know as much about comics as they do, and then they're just like, oh, here's all this information you probably don't know, and it's like, no, I know all of that. Why are you assuming that I don't? You're assuming that we probably know cooking, but you're still willing to say, oh, okay, so you don't know about cooking. Here, let me teach you. And it's just like, it's nice to see. Just nice to see that instinct.
No, it's.
But feel free to assume that I know nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
All right. So again, and these are maybe a little bigger than I would do if I was at a kitchen. Okay. So let's see. We've got the pickle.
I want to give them a good look
shallot.
so far at what we've got.
What we've got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I can already see. There we are.
Man, I'm already in love with this.
The pickle, the shallot, the jalapeno, and now we're squeezing half of a lemon in there.
I have those at home. Those I know how to use.
Lemons?
That's good. I have some lemons.
And it's also really good.
lemon
Wait,
tree, right?
I have a lemon
David,
tree.
here we go. Okay. It's got the. Okay, tell me again. Check out the thing. I want to just know. Anybody? I don't know if it's worth it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm coming here every week, you guys. This is
anytime.
this is my
we
new
are okay with
my
it.
new hangout. Okay, this is fresh dill. We're gonna keep that till the end, but this is something I learned in cooking school, was sort of clean as you go.
I do the exact same thing.
And so I'm just, because I'm on this little couch with everybody, I'm gonna just kind of
help?
clean
Now,
as
when
I
you
go
say
here.
cooking school,
I went to, after I finished Desperate Housewives, it was really the first time in my life that my daughter was in high school, so she was at a point where, pretty independent and like not a toddler. And I wasn't working 75 hours a week and like that drive. And it was really the first time, I think I was probably like, I don't know, 48 or something. And I thought, what do I actually want to do? Like I had the
you've been working
my whole life, you know, like from the time I was 19 years old, and it was, I mean, a really blessed situation to be in, to be able to step back and go, okay, wait, what do I actually want to do? And I wanted to go to cooking school, so I went to the Cordon Bleu in Pasadena for a year.
I know that Cordon Bleu. I pass it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I live like a mile and a half from that Cordon Bleu.
And I made a great girlfriend there, and I learned so much, and it was just
paper towel.
Oh, so far I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so here's our can of salmon, and so that's going in there. And you could use tuna or, you know, chicken or whatever. I think salmon is the healthiest thing, and then we're just gonna you know, kind of break that all up with the fork. That's gonna get all, as you know, as we want to get that really broken up.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're gonna take, and this this is not cheap. This is being thrifty, which is, that isn't that the same word for cheap? It is being cheap.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So this is not shameless plug. Siggy's plain yogurt, so no added sugar in this. But I was using this at home this morning with my breakfast, and then I thought, well, rather than just leave it there, I bring it. So it's a little cheesy, I guess. But,
no,
you know.
we get Teri's breakfast yogurt. Breakfast yogurt.
Breakfast yogurt. Okay, so we're gonna do.
At my house too, so
we're gonna do. I think we'll just do the rest of this. It's just like probably about 2 tablespoons. Okay. All right. Let's cleaning as we go. Let's stuff that in there. All right. I can go in there.
I can make that go away.
All right. So this is now starting to get stirred up. Then I think the last thing.
It smells amazing.
Oh, this can go away.
Oh, that does smell amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Then we're gonna do about a teaspoon of pepper. That's going in.
Into your hand and then onto the thing.
Well, that's how I'm doing it, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could measure it, but I'm.
If something goes horribly wrong, it goes wrong in your hand as opposed to in the food.
Good luck. Gotta have the. Anybody want?
I'll have the crew clean that later.
Yeah, have the crew. Well, it's for good luck. So.
I know. I was kidding.
Okay, now let's.
Mostly just going to injure the slugs that live back there. Thank you very much. We've been working on those for years.
Poor club slugs.
Okay, so I got myself some pre-washed romaine lettuce here. So we'll do. How about one for each of you?
Yes.
You like that? One for each of us?
I was going to say, make sure you get one too.
Okay.
And the crew can fend for themselves.
But I will make them for everybody. There's probably going to be enough. Okay, so.
This will be the closest to a proper meal you've had between Wednesday Club and Weave.
So now all we do is we just scoop
Do you mind if I
out.
Move your knife just because I'm so
Actually, do you mind if I see your knife really quickly? It's so beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah, nothing bad ever happens from giving me a weapon.
Oh.
It's fine. Oh, wow. Trying to read this.
Does anyone want a paper towel? They're right here.
Okay.
I've got some paper towels just in case.
Yep.
All right, so then we're.
It makes the cutest little boat.
Yeah, it makes a little, and then we're going to take a little of this fresh dill.
Yeah, this is not messing around at all.
Put a little bit of that. I think it was one of those, like when I was going to cooking school and after I had gotten an A in a couple of courses and I'd been doing it for a few months, I felt like I deserved a nice knife, so I bought that for myself.
So some of the other students had started sending threats, so you were ready to defend yourself in your honor. This is a wonderful Japanese murder weapon here. This is great.
Very knowledgeable about different sorts of.
I'm always fascinated by anybody who folds metal into shapes, and this is beautiful.
It's pretty. I forget. I'm not like a label person, so I forget who the designer. It's like a knife designer. That's not really. That's not really how it. It's not like clothes.
Who are you chopping?
Yeah, but I forget who it is. But I know it's somebody.
Kramer, Japan. Yeah.
Cool.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hi.
Okay. All right. Do you want a napkin to do this for each of you?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. There's
one.
If you want
And
to
actually, a napkin for the knife as well would be a.
Yeah.
So I can clean it really quickly.
There you go.
Okay. Here, that's for the knife.
There you go. That's for Taliesin.
Okay.
You're gonna make one for yourself, yeah?
Yes, I'm gonna make one for myself. Oh my God! And if you guys might hate it. What if you hate it? Oh well.
It'll be very fun.
It'll be the best internet content.
Somehow
it might need a little bit more salt or pepper. I don't know.
Thank you guys for coming with us on this journey. By the way, everybody seems to be enjoying this, and you guys are being really adorable.
How's chat being right now?
Chat is being funny. Chat is being really cute and really funny.
Oh my God, that smells so good.
Tal's threatening, playing with a knife. Matt is threatening the crew, and Amy is eating. Welcome to the Wednesday Club. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So there we go.
So my wife and I always toast our food.
Oh,
so
cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
We doing
cheers.
Huh?
To Saga.
To Saga.
To Saga. Oh man.
Oh my God, that is good.
Wow.
Right? So can you see, like, having like a plate of that? You could, you could put them all around like a flower, actually, and you could set that out at a party, or if like you were going to sit down to read, you'd be eating that instead of
or you
eating.
have some friends over to play, the new Spider-Man game, and watch you play it. Yeah.
Right.
We would occasionally even have food at the comic book store on a Wednesday night. Someone would bring in like finger food for everybody.
Oh man,
It's good, right?
this is really good.
So that's no cooking.
This is really good.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm happy you like it. I
How about
love it too.
you're eating a meal like on a Wednesday night? People don't know how insane that is.
Do you never eat?
She's got a show right after this show.
Oh, okay.
Which is delightful.
So
But
she runs out, attempts to be social, put food in her mouth, get makeup done, go to the bathroom. All
it's a rough life. I do fun things. But
Well,
Yeah,
there's
there's a
more.
30-minute tournament.
Yeah.
I want to eat this.
Yeah.
And then,
We need to get to talking about Saga.
Yeah, and then I'm going to put
Don't
this
worry about
away.
it.
So,
may I? Oh, I'm plugged in.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
I'm mobile.
I can do it.
here, I'll put it over here.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
I don't
I'm in
know.
no way going to keep playing with this knife. That is not a thing that's going to happen.
I just inhaled that. That was so good.
Well, there's more. Here, I'm going to put this down
Oh,
over there,
yeah,
too.
thank you. Give it a little.
Look at him, like, shying away. I'm not going to stab you with it, I swear.
I'm going to stab you. Wait, and,
Well, thanks for indulging me with the cookies.
That was
Oh, my
amazing.
God.
Thank
it's
you.
It's always a little bit nerve-wracking, no matter what, to just cook on TV, on camera, while you're talking. Once, years and years ago, I had Diane Sawyer to my house to do an interview when I was doing Desperate Housewives. And she wanted me to make chocolate chip cookies for her.
And you were like, I can't do that. There's sugar in that.
No, see, okay, but just to be clear, I'm not saying never eat sugar. I totally eat sugar once
You heard
in a while.
it here, Daisies. Teri Hatcher said to never eat sugar.
No, I didn't.
Spreading lies.
I
Be
just
intentional with your
I
sugar.
just said be intentional with your sugar. That's a really good way to put it. Be
No, it's-
intentional with your sugar. I really like that.
thank you.
I'm glad you feel
That's
that.
what I'm here for.
Anyways, but I was
Terrifying
so nervous to
Mm-hmm.
have Diane Sawyer in my house that I was trying to make these cookies, and my hand was like with the sugar, like they came out great, and it was fun. But I was just even a little bit. I get a little bit amped up trying to talk and cook. I think because your brain is like trying to do a lot of things. But I'm glad you guys liked it.
But you made that look so easy because you were like, and then you blah, 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 blah. Whoops, it's done.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, good, good.
Oh, oops, here's one of the more delicious things you've had in a long
Really
time.
good.
The lemon
made it on this
makes
couch.
it so, I don't know.
The what in it?
The lemon.
Lemon in the yogurt.
Like,
Yeah.
That's always
it
my
makes
thing.
everything else more delicious somehow.
Oh,
I don't know how that works.
Little acid always
Yeah.
makes the food a little bit brighter. That's a good thing. No,
Shush.
what?
Just
Not
shush.
that kind of acid.
I know, but he knows exactly.
These two just came back from Burning Man.
So,
Oh,
we may have had.
I was gonna go and then I didn't.
You
But
should. It's
I
a
know.
good time.
I had
You've
tickets.
got,
I
you've
had
got
tickets
people who
and
could help
everything.
you.
Your bus will never recover. But.
No, I had tickets and everything. It was a whole thing. Like I really.
Have you
had,
ever been?
No. And this was going to be the year I was going to go, and then a bunch of things ended up happening, and it just wasn't. It was really. It's an interesting thing when something is kind of going wrong for you, and like I had to really. I mean, not to go too deep about Burning Man, but I was really excited and I was invested. I mean, I had tickets and flights and everything, and some things were happening, and I really had to look at like, am I afraid to go to Burning Man, or am I? Do I need to stay here and do this thing that needs to be done, you know? And I really, and so I did make the choice that it was the wrong year for me to go, and I didn't end up going, but I really wanted to go. So I'm gonna go.
There's always next year.
There's always next year. And we had a couple friends who were in a very similar situation where they had their tickets, they had everything ready to go, and then a couple weeks ahead of time, it's like,
Yeah.
Am I just terrified to go, or is this legitimately not the smart move?
Right.
And it's important to ask that question.
And
it is such an undertaking.
I'm glad because I feel like it's the kind of thing you don't want to be having. You want to be like completely like, I've done the right thing. I'm here. I'm present. I'm having this experience. And I think I just wouldn't have been. So
yeah, you want to be present for the week that you have ahead of you.
Speaking of acid, is that how we got into this?
Yep.
I'm a little of all the roads I was going to go down, that was the road that.
You could just, you were at Burning Man where you saw many people who probably did various things.
Sure.
It's a great segue.
Yeah, I read a lot of comic books. I'll say that.
Yeah, I read Into Shambhala every year.
The Doctor Strange story.
It's a Doctor Strange story. I read it at Burning Man every year.
Really?
So.
We were prepping for the episode for this show.
For the Wally Wood episode,
we were actually reading comic books while we were at Burning Man.
For the record, Doctor Strange was his favorite before he grew up to look exactly like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he's been my favorite since I was 10, and then
it's pretty cool.
You learned to look like your favorite comic book characters.
Yeah, like
is
this.
It like a dog? Like when you have, it's like having a dog.
It's kind of like it's like oh, the dog and the owner look the same. It's like oh, the favorite comic book character.
I wonder if I'm going to start sprouting wings.
With any luck.
Yeah.
And what a good.
So how did you get introduced to Saga?
Before we go,
okay.
we do need to ask for topics.
Yes.
So, make sure you get those topics into us. We warned Teri ahead of time about the 5-minute one shot.
And now getting into, as Miss Sunflower was very politely asking us to say what you were about to say.
Our topic.
How were you going to?
Yes, you getting into Saga. Like, what was the what got you into the comic store looking for more stuff? Because I love that they handed you Saga for more
a shop called Quest. Yeah. What got me in?
Yeah.
Sorry about the speckling.
Honestly, I have had an idea that I have been developing, and it's so. I know I'm being like so incredibly vague, but. It made me curious to begin to explore female characters in comic books.
And I'm glad you're asking now and not like 30 years ago, because it's a better landscape than it used to be.
Right. Well, so, one of the first ones he gave me was Faith, which I loved.
Our friend writes that, Jody.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
Jody Hauser, hi.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, Jody.
She's in chat.
So I read all of those, and then he introduced me to Saga. He introduced me to Paper Girls, which I love.
I was hoping that you were reading that. Yeah.
Yep. I think I'm up to date with that one. And then I started. I got into what's Bombshells? But I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. That one didn't hook me as much. But just Witchblade. So I've just been curious, but Saga was the one. I mean, Saga is oh my goodness.
We'll talk about him later, audience, if you're not familiar.
He's so cute.
This has been strange for me because this is mine.
He's so cute.
But working in a shop, I'd been a fan of this author for a long time, and so we already knew whatever he did next was going to be interesting because I was a big fan of his Y: The Last Man. Have you read that one? I would
That's
love
the next thing
to
I
know.
need to know.
So the premise of that book is that essentially one day, mysteriously, every dude on the planet drops dead except for our main character and his pet monkey.
Okay.
Everything with a Y chromosome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And essentially, what follows, it started in 2002, and it's sort of the chaos that you might imagine if any few billion people dropped dead. So it's semi-post-apocalyptic in that way, but what you get over time with the series, I'm happy they're working on this one for television now, but like you get an amazing cast of an ensemble cast of all wildly different female characters.
Wow, that's great.
And some trans men and some other, like, the people who survived those events, some of them are trying to pick up the pieces and some of them are trying to burn everything down and some of them are, and they're all disagreeing with each other and the way anyone would. But you get some, like, that was the book that sort of hooked a lot of us on Brian Vaughan.
Okay.
And he did it with an artist named Pia Guerra, and she's wonderful. But that was all sort of context for this, like, whatever he does next, I'm sure it's going to be great. But even knowing when orders rolled into that, I think the first issue of Saga went to something like 9 printings.
Wow.
Yeah, like 9 editions.
Which is...
unheard of.
It is unheard of. It's frankly ridiculous because every time you send a comic book, this is just for our audience, but like every time you send a comic book back to press, the next run is less profitable because you're doing like, every time you are going back and starting from scratch, you lose that kind of manufacturing advantage. You're doing smaller runs and all of this, but like, we couldn't stop selling it, and everybody kept trying to order it, and eventually, like, the company was almost begging us to be like, please, we can't do more print. Just,
please stop.
Oh, please order more, or stop ordering, or do something. I mean, don't stop ordering. It was sort of this panic of like, but because it was the right sort of marriage at the right time of an unexpected thing, which is why I love that the whole thing starts out with a comparison between making a child and making a creative work, because it's sort of Anyway, it's been very strange to see that come out as like, oh, the new issue of a new interesting book from Brian Vaughan, and you can see in the back, in the letters pages, as they're like, maybe we should make T-shirts, and now it's 7 years later. I own 3 Saga T-shirts.
Is it 7 years?
Or 6 years, I think.
Oh my God! Oh, that kills me. It's that long.
3 Saga T-shirts, 4 Funko Pops, a plushie goose,
with multiple outfits.
Action figures. I own it. We have pins.
I have a line cap pin that I forgot to wear.
I love this shirt.
That shirt's killing me.
It's Isabel.
It's the babysitter.
The babysitter.
Babysitter.
Yep.
So,
and it's one of those that's very subtle. Like, it says Saga on the sleeve, but it just looks like you're wearing a heart.
Just looks like a cool
everything,
shirt.
Okay, I don't know, like, your audience, like, how do you think the people that are watching have read this?
No, some of them
have. Some of them will have, some of them
a lot
won't.
of them haven't.
Yeah.
Which is why we should do the What is Saga?
Oh, yes. For those of you who don't know, what exactly is it?
And
we tried to define the genre, but
yeah, what is Saga? Like, if you were just going to like sum up the plot generally to someone.
Yeah, as spoiler free as you can be, but like also recognizing like the first graphic, like we're probably going to cover pretty well.
If you can't remember the
first volume, yeah, the first 6 issues we'll probably cover pretty solidly, but.
Well, I mean, you know, okay, it's way futuristic, you know, but also representative of like racial issues and tensions and war. But then parenting and
that's a huge theme in the book, yeah.
I'm putting on it backwards.
Yeah, that's the couple.
And at the time, this cover made quite a stir because they put a breastfeeding mom on the cover.
Yeah, right.
Right. Should be no big deal, but kind of was.
Yeah.
But it says so much about what the book is.
I mean, it really does. I mean,
like
the cover says nothing is off limits. Like that it and it's, I mean, and it's also, it's incredibly sexy and
I mean, it's very adult. It's a very adult book.
You're going to see a lot of genitalia. You're going to see of very various kinds. You're going to see a lot of violence. You're going to see a lot lot of everything.
But
it's not afraid to go there.
Never gratuitous.
Yeah, never gratuitously.
Yeah, other than that one monster they run into. there's one monster who was like, wow, that's a lot. But,
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. But even
and that's pretty early on in the
it's like a nature documentary.
But even that, like, it's not gratuitous, but it's also like some of the things you go, I've been waiting for somebody to bring this subject matter up, you know, in this way, and I don't know. You know, we have so many great television shows on, but somehow, maybe it's because of the genre or because it's a comic, like they're able to tackle things in a different way that I don't see on TV. I don't know. I know I'm not really explaining what it is. I mean, just the fact that you held up the babysitter character, like even that. I mean, am I allowed to say what she does or what?
Well, I mean,
just that she's a ghost that's like attached to another person's soul, and I think that's so interesting.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's no shortage of incredible ideas that run all the way throughout.
There she is. I know. I knew I put her in there.
Yeah.
The horrors.
Yeah, they're known as the horrors in this, and they are children who have died in this forest on this. It's called Cleave?
Cleave.
Is it
Cleave?
Reeve?
Yeah. No, I think it's Cleave.
So this is a. I can sum up if you like very quick. I have a terse sum up. I have a terse
summary.
Very terse summary of Saga.
That's your
probably won't be as good as mine.
That's your play name. Terse summary.
But there's something like the indefinability of it is part of its charm. So I love that that's in there.
The love of it is the fact that it's too big to explain properly. So anything, I'm going to just do an enormous disservice to it, and say that it is a sci-fi fantasy epic built around a universe unlike any that you've ever experienced. It is while borrowing from many places, and definitely there is a heavy leaning on the fact that there is one race of people who have wings who live on a moon that orbits another planet with a race of people with horns, and that there's definitely something there. It's really not a universe you've ever really experienced. The closest I could come up with was like the 60s surrealism. There's almost a Salvador Dali, if he were to make Star Wars kind of vibe to the whole thing. It really is the story of two young lovers, Alana and Marco, who are on opposite sides of a war.
It's Romeo and Juliet.
Who are Romeo and
Except if it opened with somebody being like, "Am I shitting? I can't tell."
I've got that.
Who are on the run, and the whole story is told from the perspective, from the future perspective of their daughter, who is born in the first issue, Hazel. Who is a baby?
She's born on like page 3.
Yeah, who's a baby for a good portion of this story.
And even that is one of those things that watching the story unfold, the moment at which she, and this is, I'm trying to stay without spoilers, but the first time it becomes clear that some time has passed, I remember the sort of intake of breath of reading that panel for the first time, because you are so in love with this family and their journey that just to know that you are now at a slightly different phase of that journey was like an emotional event. If you remember sort of the first glimpse of non-strictly infant Hazel.
When you're just like, wait, so what? Where have they been? Is she okay? What has happened to? Are you going to fill in the blanks later?
Time moves in chunks in this story, in heavy, hard, vicious chunks. There's a bunch of side characters who I don't even think it's okay to call them side characters. There's a bunch
they
of
start off side and then get pulled in and pulled in more and pulled in more.
But that's the thing that I love, because what you said earlier about the people you might not ever otherwise talk to, that is, I think, like it's a recurring feature of Brian Vaughn's work. You get it a lot in Why the Last Man, where like when things are going to hell, someone will go by the background of something and they will get their own spotlight issue several books later. And I think that that's reflected very much here as well, where it's like every time you think you know who the good guys are or the important characters are, it will surprise you by saying, well, that person has a perspective too. And this person has a perspective too.
He's also not like, this kind of like anti-hero kind of a thing. Like he's not afraid to have our heroes, the leads of this thing, make mistakes and have flaws and
they're very
have
flawed
regrets.
Characters.
Yeah,
they're
like
very flawed
and struggle with their decisions and what's right and what's not right. And yet it all comes back to when I keep saying it's representative of human. I just feel like I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to put into words.
I got stuck for a while, and I finally started classifying the characters instead of heroes and villains, because there's just no way to do that.
Especially not in this book.
In this book at all, into flexible characters and inflexible characters, and the characters who were the characters who were most capable of adapting and adjusting to the changes that the book put them through were the ones that were the easiest to relate to, and then like it was less the villains and just the characters who were more like Prince Robot. Prince Robot was.
So how do you explain Prince Robot?
Fuck.
Fuck. See, we can curse on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
See, he's proving it right now.
I love Prince Robot, but he is such a disaster.
Oh.
He is. I mean,
all of them are disasters. They're all disasters. They're all.
He's a terrible
walking,
person,
talking,
and
terrible
he's a mess,
disasters,
and he's
trying to be the
shitty.
best.
But it's not one of those books where it's sort of mean and you're glorying in them doing bad things to each other. I love that like there's a lot of books that even books I love where you can describe, so you can say everyone's in a disaster and everyone's a disaster, and what you mean is sort of like that you're watching, because there is sometimes a sort of Game of Thrones pleasure in being like, oh no, that one's going to betray that one and blah 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 blah, and that's an oversimplification of Game of Thrones, because you also can watch that very seriously for people trying to do the right thing. But this book, I love that, like, everyone is a disaster, but not because we just want to watch them damage each other. We hope that they won't, but we can see how they're thrown inevitably into
these. You know what, though? I think that
Prince Robot.
Just so.
I think I might have put a picture of Prince Robot in the system, but if I haven't. Prince Robot is from a race of people with monitors for heads that display their feeling, but they're also, it's an aristocracy. It's a case system, and definitely they have their own political strife and issues. And
they're allied with one side of that giant interplanetary.
Yeah, they're allied with the people who have the wings.
And he's very formal and stiff, and his parents did a number on him. It's like, his parents did a number on him. And
don't you think he would have a British accent?
Oh, no, I mean, like, inevitably. There's no way to fight that.
Yeah.
I read him that way.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, oh, of course he's speaking.
This is something I want. No, I just wanted to point out, because we didn't say this, but I do think it's part of what you were saying about it's not, even though there's like the violence and everything, it's not mean, that the whole thing is told from in kind of the past tense from the daughter's point of view. Yeah. So like just her, and I think that gives us like this it's like the understanding that everybody was just trying to do their best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like this is how it all happened, and lots of shit went wrong. But this is what, everybody was just trying to survive. Yeah. Right? Or use the
which
tools
is so
they had.
real.
Which
like
is
that's so real, because that's like such
I mean, I think it's
world,
her voice.
So,
it's her voice is what keeps me so connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
and the interesting balance of because we alluded earlier to the ability of these creators to hurt your heart as you're going through, but what's interesting is that they've hit on this very interesting sort of mechanism for tension, where you have this narrator who already knows how things are going to go. And you sort of end up clinging to it because you were like, all right, this is probably evidence that someone survives. So no matter how you're always holding on to that, but if there's any meanness in the book, it comes from the writer and artist who know that they can dangle our feelings in front of us every time they put someone in danger.
Yeah, there's something about like knowing that Hazel gets out okay. There's something that makes the story safe even when it's not. You're just like, but Hazel's okay. I know that she's okay.
She's telling the story.
She's telling the story. So, I know that it turns out okay.
Although, and not to throw this out there, but we also have a talking ghost in this book. So have we?
Yeah. So we don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
So maybe she's not okay.
We don't know that she's. I was going to say we're not. I don't know.
Don't take them away from me, Teri.
I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
and there's also a character that I'm convinced is on a certain level is in my head is kind of one of the big villains of the book. Although it's hard to. They do a great trick with the Will.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where they're genius by making him do this really, really good kind of positive thing at the very beginning of the book. So it takes a really long time to process you're awful.
Right.
You're awful. You're a mess.
Well, he's got the best best friend.
He's got the best friend. The best
Who is
Chewbacca.
the Lion Cat?
Lion Cat.
I love. Do you have a Lion Cat figure?
I don't have the figure.
There's Lion Cat.
Yeah.
Look at Lion Cat.
I have a little action figure, but I feel like they did a plush, and I don't have the plush.
I think I want the plush Lion Cat. That's what I want. That's what I want. No,
we'll give you that for Christmas.
Okay, that would be awesome. I have to say, that in this sort of mystical fantasy of really out of anything, not even just Saga, but anything. If I could have one thing, it would be I would want to have a lion.
Oh God!
Can you imagine? So it's just every time anybody says anything, your cat would be like. Lion. Oh my God! In Hollywood, are you kidding me? I need a lion cat.
Maybe a laryngitis cat.
So Prince Robot has a British accent. How does Lion Cat sound to you?
Oh God! Now the
well, I was just going to say Scarlett Johansson, but I just think I would want everything to sound like Scarlett Johansson.
Because Lion Cat to me is lying.
Is it really?
It's deeper than that.
A boy or a girl?
I think she's a girl.
It's a girl. I'm gonna go weird. Kim Carnes, man. I'm gonna go old.
Oh yeah. So you're with the deeper, thing.
Kim Carnes is a singer. I'm trying to. Betty Davis eyes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is that Betty Davis eyes?
Yeah, just smoke.
Right. But I think Scarlett is smoky.
Yeah, she's got some smoky. Yeah.
She was
I think we're all in the same ballpark for the voice.
She was Kaa in Jungle Book, wasn't she? The snake.
Yeah. I think so.
That
I'm a big fan of Smoke.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I do love. There's when the Will leaves the Lion Cat behind on a certain vacation planet and says, "Don't be like that. You would have had a lousy time anyway." And the cat just stalks away, saying, "Lying."
I should have brought my books because I have like page down things. I
thought you had them.
No, I left them left them out there. It's okay. I don't have my glasses on anyway. I couldn't read anything.
I mean,
I can't.
You could borrow mine. Maybe
I'll also. I mean, like, there's something to be said about the intense character designs, and there's a character that my God, I found 2 images of this character that we can actually show. On Twitch without getting in trouble. The Stalk.
The Stalk!
Oh, yeah.
Who I was just instantly in love with.
Yep.
A lot of people.
Oh, man.
Yep.
The Stalk is, there's a whole series, are they like bounty hunters, I guess?
Yeah,
They're
bounty hunters.
freelancers.
They seem like they're
Mercenaries.
Mercenary.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of paid, she is the Boba Fett of this universe. You're just like, you're the coolest.
Yeah.
And you're not around nearly long enough.
And I have to admit, I love the naming convention that Brian K. Vaughan created for all the freelancers, because it seems like the Will, the Stalk, the is a title that's earned as a freelancer.
Or like a mark of
brand.
profession.
Yeah, it's like Lord or Mr. or Mrs. or whatever. It's like, oh, here's the Will.
Doctor.
Oh, freelancer. It's doctor, yeah. So
do we have a picture of the Stalk? I think I put some pictures of the Stalk in the machine. I swear to God.
I don't remember finding any that we could use.
What?
He put his little overalls on.
I didn't find any that we could use.
I put a bunch in the folder. Yesterday.
I don't know.
I did. I found.
I'm not saying that you didn't.
I found some covers because the Stalk is almost entirely since we don't have an image up right now.
And then we have
and I doubt I could
overalls
find a clean image on my own without. Actually, I could probably go into the Dropbox folder.
We'll
do that.
The Stalk is the Will's. There's a past relationship there.
Vaguely.
And she is a giant spider.
Half spider.
Half spider. Like imagine a centaur, but a spider.
Yeah.
And that's the Stalk. And she can use every single one of her arms to wield a gun or a sword and is ruthless.
Nope, that one's not usable. Hold on.
He's looking for.
But she's always topless.
There we.
So.
I found one where
That's
she's.
a good one.
Yeah.
I have that issue right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So here she is with all of her arms.
What is going on with the colors? Hold on.
And she has a big bustle skirt that hides all of her extra arms.
It's purple.
There we are.
You can't tell it's purple.
Oh, it's because the color in the monitor is weird. And she has, 8 eyes like you do. She's spectacular.
Yeah.
Well, and Fiona Staples does the most amazing designs.
The artwork is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's where Goose, the little seal guy,
Goose.
She invented him, and Brian K. Vaughan kept seeing these drawings of this little character, and he was like, who's this guy? And she's like, oh, just a little, I just like drawing him. He's like, do you want him to be in the book? She's like, really? He's like, I'll put him in the book. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
like he created Goose as, oh, Fiona likes drawing this character. Like, I want to give her something that she loves drawing.
He's a walrus herder.
Yeah,
I guess.
there's walrus on this one planet. They visit.
Yeah, they go to a planet because they're in love with it.
For reasons?
For reasons.
For reasons. They go there for reasons that we
we're going to
can't
talk
talk
around
about.
a few things. I'm looking for a few other wonderful characters. There's also there's a pair of journalists who want with them.
So,
Look, it's Goose.
Oh, there's Goose and one of his walry.
So we haven't even really talked about the main two, like
Marco and Alana?
Marco and Alana.
Okay, so I know we all agreed that it doesn't ever need to be adapted, but I just saw Crazy Rich Asians, and I would accept pretty much any male member of that cast for Marco.
Yeah.
So please, in the event that
I haven't seen that yet. I hear
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's yes, the hype is real for
Okay,
that.
well, that's good to know that we've agreed, but you have casting anyway, just in case.
Just in case.
Just in
you
case.
could like get Henry Golding to play him, and then get like Zoe Saldana.
I want to be the mother.
I
want to be the mother.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be great, right?
Yeah, you'd kill.
She's a badass.
She's a total badass.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those, as you read the book, like revisiting it, I was reminded of like how, because you're so invested in these characters and everything feels like life and death.
Well, that's not the mother. That's that's a later character.
That's the Will's sister, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. With the dog with the dog that
Sweet boy.
Sweet boy that shoots sleeping darts.
There's the mother.
There's
the father.
the
Oh yeah,
grandparents.
there's the mother.
love
That
that.
looks
And then my
like me.
grandparents
Doesn't that look like me?
You could do it. You could kill it. It'd be great.
Come on.
It'd be a lot of hours in the makeup chair, but it'd be worth it.
Oh,
But it really.
the bitchy grandparents are so great.
When you don't ever know when you meet people whether they are there sort of for the better or for worse for their lives. And obviously, like...
That's one of the things that Brian K. Vaughan does really well.
You also get to see the evolution. I mean, thinking of that character specifically, where she starts and where she ends, like she evolves so much through all the stuff that happens
and that
to
is
her.
like,
it's amazing.
And that is such a hallmark for this book, is that like you're seeing this multi-year arc through, how many books are there now? Like,
the 9th trade paperback is about to come out, right? And there's
and
54.
I can tell you, I have the last issue on my iPad because
it's between 50 and 60 issues,
like
and like in that time you've seen like an absolute, like not only of the characters but of the relationships. They've gone through so much in those 5 years, like you know, like. Yeah, it's like it's hard to talk about.
We haven't even talked about Gwendolyn yet.
No, we haven't talked about.
But we still haven't talked about like Marco or Alana.
This is a giant. It's a cast of. It's a huge cast of characters. It spans years and years of these characters' lives.
But with a rock solid emotional core, like.
And you're on board. I mean, like. And anytime you're like, I'm not entirely. Anytime you have a moment of disinvestment, like everything changes so hard and so fast that immediately you're junted into something else.
Yeah.
I mean. She works the main character. She works as a television actress
when
for a while.
When she goes to work on the circuit.
Yeah.
What was that like?
True. I mean, it was like a soap opera. I mean, she goes to work on this world's version of a soap opera.
And it's like a VR soap opera that's also kind of mixed with like elements of wrestling. It feels like
it reminds a lot of us of like superhero comics, but like mixed with those other.
But they're all, and they all kind of, but it also has like a bit of a strip club element.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like a little bit seedy. And they're all sort of, there's like drugs around.
It reminded me sort of like, almost like what the stories that you hear about like the Globe Theater and like Elizabethan theater, where like you would have those groundlings who were like down by the stage, like heckling these professional actors. Like they're like full, you know, like saying their lines, you know, to be or not to be, boo! Right. Like it has like that kind of feeling where they're trying to do legitimate
in that
theater, but like they're getting heckled by the, you know, the groundlings. So
right.
And it's so deep.
Which I always assumed was a metaphor for making work and getting like online reaction, especially in those early years. Like I think Brian came on, he's off of Twitter now, but like he was an early one that like sort of unplugged from some of the social media stuff, because the Saga letters pages famously, like you had to literally mail in.
Oh, really?
They have letter columns, but they were like, I don't know if they still are, but especially those first couple of years, like it was physical mail only.
Wow.
But if you did, if you mailed him weird stuff, he would like, there was a beautiful, very lively letters column, but it was paper only. And I think partly because he spent a lot of years working in superhero fiction, and every decision you make, people online will be like, how dare you do that? They should have this. They shouldn't have that. The color is wrong.
And is that why you went off?
I think it's probably part of it. It may also be like he had a family, he was doing a lot of work, and I think
he's working too much.
You know, the temptations of that engagement.
They have a high as fuck T-shirt.
Oh my God!
That is not surprising at all.
High as fuck is a running gag in this book as well, and they have. I've just went to the merch their little merch page, and they have.
It's so strange to have watched all of this come into existence.
It's amazing.
And
I may have to order that.
I don't own that. I own that. I don't own that. I own that. I own that. I'm
definitely late to the party, because I mean, and that is the great thing about the books, is that I was able to catch up like in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and like what you said, like the book's going on a hiatus for at least a year, so you've got plenty of time to catch up now.
Yeah.
We can all meet back here when the next one comes out.
Some of the Daisies are wondering where on earth.
I'll bring food.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, now you have to. So that food was too good.
People are wondering what?
Where the plushie came from.
I actually got it at last year's New York Comic Con after they introduced them, I think, at San Diego last year.
Yeah, I bought one for Brittany this year at San Diego.
But I think that it's interesting because it is not typical for indie comics, for ones that aren't at Marvel or DC, to have particularly robust merchandising.
Oh,
this
really?
is unusual.
It's very
so cute, though. You can see why he must be selling, because he's just so cute.
Pretty sure.
I bet you can buy one at New York Comic Con.
I'm going to be at New York Comic Con, everybody.
See, that's what we call a segment.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've never been before, and
Same. I've never been.
so
I'll be there this year.
Yeah, I'm going to be meeting the people and signing the autographs and taking the pictures. And
yay! Where can people like if they want to find your schedule or track that?
Where do they go?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's okay. Stay tuned. Stay tuned is what we say.
We'll see if we can figure that out.
I know I'm there all day, Friday the 4th, Saturday the 5th, and Friday the 5th, Saturday the 6th, Sunday the 7th of October. I'm there all day.
You can probably search their schedule for signing times.
Yeah.
I bet on the website.
You'll be signing every day, so you'll have a table that you're signing at.
I'll be signing every day and taking pictures every day.
I think so.
Yeah. What?
And while you're at that website, you might want to check that because we have some news that we haven't let the audience in on exactly. We have 2/3 of a Wednesday Club panel.
Sorry, I will not be there yet on Thursday, but Taliesin and Amy will both have a panel Thursday morning.
Yeah, Amy texted and was like, "Who's going to be there?" I'm like, I think I can do this. Yeah, let's
And Matt
do it.
talked us into doing it because I was like, it won't be right without you. And he was like, do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. I'll be there in spirit.
We will all be in New York, so we would we aren't officially announcing yet, but stay tuned. We might try to get all three of us together at a different place and time later in the weekend. But yeah,
all you East Coast daisies, look, come find us.
2 weeks. Yeah, if you're at New York Comic Con, we're going to do a
next time
thing.
we'll plan it further ahead so you have time to make travel plans. Surprise!
Surprise, we're going to be there.
We literally figured this out in like 72 hours. It was just kind of an insane thing.
But also, all you East Coast daisies, make sure to go visit Teri Hatcher at her table and say hello.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing.
I love Saga because of you.
There's already a link in chat to the schedule so that people can find you.
Oh, they are. Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
A very loving chat. Yeah, no, you should. This is going to be super fun.
I was at a Comic-Con kind of event in Australia a couple of years ago, and I got a chance to like walk the floor of the event and everything. But that's the only other time that I've done this sort of signing autograph thing, and I just love the people. I love the community. I love how so I was down at the San Diego one, but I wasn't signing autographs. I did some of my van therapy episodes.
With Leica, is it pronounced Leica?
With Leica, yeah. And I just got random people who were visiting Comic-Con to come in, and I love the community of people. I love how tolerant they are, how expressive they are, how it's just this place where people just get to be what they want to be, and it's a lot of families, and I don't know, it's really a good energy.
So 2 things on the Leica thing. You did an episode of the van therapy down there with one of the girls that you interviewed, I think was cosplaying as casual Doctor Strange.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, so now Teri Hatcher knows about my favorite character. In anticipation of you doing this episode. But also, my lovely wife, Brittany, one of her favorite movies of all time is Coraline.
Yep.
Oh, thanks.
So,
that's one of my favorite movies of all time, too.
Yeah, I have to say that. So.
Oh, that's great. We'll tell her I said thank you. I love that movie.
You probably just told her yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was Coraline's 10th anniversary when at the Comic-Con this year. Can you believe? 10 years. Yeah.
That went quick.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Yeah, that went very fast.
I mean, who would think that in hindsight, one of my favorite performances would be me not even being on screen? But I love
such a wonderful part of that world.
Neil Gaiman is no stranger to comics, so.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing script, amazing story. Henry Selick did such an amazing job with the movie, and it was a great character. So yeah, I love having that on my resume.
So back to Saga.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not telling anybody the story, but you kind of can't.
It's hard to describe it without.
So I think it's okay if we talk through the first book, the first 6.
Well, and it's also so much about the character, and I think everyone has kind of a favorite. I assume we have favorite. I don't know.
Well, and we can talk about the basic setup, which is that there's a war that's been going on as long as anyone can remember between a planet and its moon.
So there's a big planet called Landfall. The inhabitants of that planet are the ones with the wings. They're more. They seem to be more technologically advanced than the moon. The moon they typically have like variations of ram horns and other kinds of horns, but typically the ram horns, and that's who Marco is. And they are magic users.
Yeah.
And they've found a way to sort of like package their magic almost in a techie sort of way.
It's got a. They have a good set of rules for it. It seems to function well. It's an awful lot of like you got to do, give a little to get a little, and there's
material components.
Yeah,
material components.
Like one of my favorite things in there was like, no, one of the ingredients of this spell is that I need a secret. Give me a secret, something that you've never told someone before.
Boy, that's a writing contrivance that I'm like, oh, you clever asshole.
Oh, he's so good.
Clever. He's
you clever asshole.
Well, you got to think he's the same guy who came up with Nico's powers in The Runaways.
Yeah.
There's a superhero character he created who can do magic, but she has a magical staff, and it'll do anything she says in a one-word command, but she can only use each word once.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
So she starts, eventually there's a point, like a later writer had her start memorizing words for healing in different languages so that she'd be able to do that trick more than once. But in general, it was sort of like, that put a very interesting, like as a writing thing, it puts interesting limits where like she could do anything, but she's got to plan for like the rest of her life.
Right.
And she's got to, she has
And
to
it can
think
only
of them
be
under
one word.
pressure.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it has to be a single word. And it's just one of those like, he has those kinds of, he's just so smart.
Yeah.
He comes up with these things where you're like, well, now that it's out there in the world, sure, that seems obvious, but nobody came up with it till you did.
Right.
Anyway, yeah,
That's
Brian
cool.
Vaughn.
Brian.
Brilliant.
But you were talking about Wreath and Landfall have been at war as long as anyone can remember. It's mostly spilled out to the rest of the galaxy
So
now.
that's what's so interesting about this book now is that like Landfall and it's Wreath, right? The planet, the moon, are still at war with each other, but their own planets they're pretty cool. Like Landfall sticks to themselves, Wreath sticks to themselves. They have a pretty relatively peaceful existence on the planets that started this war, but they have now embroiled the entire galaxy and this entire universe in their war, and everyone else is fighting the war for. God, that art is so.
Yeah.
Let's just get a giant turtle to shoot fire.
It's like they have a giant turtle and like these weird looking like trilobite flying ships. It's like, what kind of imagination spawns this?
Plus,
Like-
my favorite, one of the things I love about this, and I don't want to elaborate on it too much, but one of the things I love is I remember revisiting this issue. You are getting a bunch of story information on this specific page all at once. And the characters, they then sort of explain what it is that you're seeing and what the significance of it is for their story in their immediate needs, the global needs, and like the interplanetary stuff. You're getting information about all of that on that one page.
And that's in issue 1, by the way. Like that's not much of a spoiler. That's
We're in
issue
volume
1.
1, I think.
I think it's issue.
Is it issue 1?
I think it might be
Fantastic.
Issue 1,
Oh, because that's the map.
I can give you your giant pile of comics.
Yeah. It's certainly the first 3 issues, but I think it might even be issue 1.
No, I think you may be right. 'Cause that's the
It's very early on, if I'm wrong.
But it reinforces the themes of the book, and it's the moment where he says, like, we're on the right track. That's
well, and one of the great things about having like a Romeo and Juliet-ish sort of, the Montagues and the Capulets, is that you don't have good guys and bad guys. It immediately cancels that out. It's like, well, Landfall's not wrong and Wreath isn't wrong. Like, I mean, they're both wrong in their own way, but they're both right in their own way, and there's no one to root for except for the family. So, like, please stop just war. Like, that's where the theme starts to come in. Is like, just stop the war. I don't want there to be a war anymore. I want them to live in peace, please. So.
Well, and one of the fun themes that comes up is apparently it's unheard of for people from both of these celestial bodies to have mated and produced an offspring. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that this offspring exists is a political nightmare. And so there's all of these forces coming down to basically either like catch the family and exploit the kid for political gain, or just murder all of them as quickly as humanly possible.
hide them or expose them or.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite panels early on because like he's sort of like Marco reminds me of Wolverine and Old Man Logan, where he's like, I've seen too much. I don't want to pop my claws ever. Yeah. So that first time you see him pop your claw, he's like, oh, what has happened? This is one of those moments where you've heard stories, like there's been hints that Marco is he's pretty powerful warrior.
He's
like
an
he's pretty
obsessive radical
badass.
pacifist when you first find him.
Yeah.
He's like really, really trying hard to just like, I don't ever want to fight.
I don't agree with fighting. I don't
like it.
want to fight. Violence can be an answer, but it's not my answer. But when it comes to his family, when it comes to Alana or Hazel, it's
and then the minute and
okay, magic sword.
Yeah, and they're very good that the minute that he does fight, you see why.
Yeah.
Is because no matter what, he takes it way too far. immediately. Like the minute that he gets involved in the fight, it's instantly a bad thing. It's a bad thing for whoever he's chopping into pieces, but it's also it ends up being terrible for him too. It's just
that's the reason I hate fighting too.
It also
I go too far.
It shows that off without sort of fetishizing the way that like I love Wolverine. I've read a lot of Wolverine books, but there's just sort of like, and then he loses it and he chops up all those guys, and like this book is.
There's a place for that, but
if it looks at that, there's a reason, and it's telling you something about it, and like it's all.
And he knows, and like things happen, and he goes, well, that's gonna come back and bite us in the ass later. Cut to 9 years later. Yep.
There it is. You knew it was gonna happen.
It literally like the domino falls, and just that one act of violence sets off a domino of 25 new acts of violence, and he knows, and he sees it, and he's just This did nothing.
But they're just doing their best.
He's doing his best. He's like, I'm just pushing the problem down the road and just causing more problems for later.
So Teri, do you have a favorite character in this?
It's as if you knew what chat was asking.
Yeah. You can. I'll allow you to have two favorites.
We're going to assume that you hate everyone else in the book. So no.
Well, I guess I already said Lion Cat, didn't I? But that's not really that. Like that's just sort of a cool. I mean, I guess.
I know it's hard.
There's Marco. I keep wanting. By the way, I keep wanting to say Kane Marco. I know that's not right. Kane Marco is the real name of the Juggernaut in the X-Men comics.
Okay.
It's Marco. Sorry, sidetrack. Marco. There's Alana. There's Lion Cat. There's the Will. There's the Stalk.
Alana. I mean, I mean, but I don't know. I mean.
Prince Robot.
No. Although, like, his sexual part, yes.
Yeah. Like, boy.
I might take him home for the night.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite, but I might take him home for the night.
He is definitely HDMI compatible.
He seems like he could,
He's down.
He could be fun.
What I love also is that you the same character that you can joke like that about, like they'll turn around and use him for like serious commentary on like PTSD and other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you care about like how he fits into his social dynamics, and you have this other side of him, and you get to like you see a lot of sides of a lot of different people.
You do. You see that's what go back to what I was saying at the beginning. You really see humanity. They talk about abortion. There's transgender. There's gay. There's everything represented.
Upshur and Doff, the
reporters,
who are from the water planet.
And even within all those relationships, you see those people love and struggle and fight and I mean it's very deep, right?
Yeah,
there they are. Look at them. Look at their.
Oh yeah.
I remember first figuring out their relationship and just being like, no, I wanted to be mad at you all. Why are you adorable? I don't why are you making me appreciate the tabloid reporters who are trying to ruin my favorite characters' lives? Damn it, now I love them too.
But what's amazing is that like even though they are antagonistic in some capacity to our main characters, they're not bad guys.
They're not bad guys. They're trying to do their job.
You're also kind of rooting for them. You're like, I hope you get the story.
Oswald and Isabel are my two favorite characters. I gotta admit.
Isabel is absolutely one of my favorite characters.
Isabel is the ghost of a teenage girl who ends up basically being bonded to the family. She's connected to the baby that she is.
Yeah.
Half a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And you very quickly figure she only appears at night wherever they are. It's only at night in whatever planetary system.
Yeah, unless they're in the middle of space where there is no night, and then she just can exist all the time.
And she's can shape change kind of and has some magic. And
she's practical and she's sarcastic and she's down to earth and
you slowly get the sense she's a lot older than she looks.
Like she died a long time ago and has been a ghost for a very long time.
And then Oswald, the
writer.
Oswald, he is nothing but a giant spoiler, every aspect.
But we can say, which we haven't brought up yet, that like somehow this book makes a major sub-thread about being a book nerd. They somehow fit that into their intergalactic science fiction story is like, and here is what it's like to love a book.
There's the teacher in the internment camp.
Yeah.
Wow, they go everywhere in this book.
I was going to bring the quote up if you didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, bring the quote up if you have it offhand, because it's such a good quote.
It's the quote is Hazel is talking to her teacher about. She gives her teacher this book that Alana loves that she's reading in the what Amy just showed.
Oh, I know what quote. This is page down. If I have this page down in my thing, yes. I mean, I can't remember exactly, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
But her teacher said, like, she's like, oh, this book is what taught my mommy and daddy everything that they know. And the teacher says something like, oh, sweetheart, if you're like.
It's not all in one book.
Anyone who thinks every answer is in one book hasn't read enough books.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, the literature major in me was like,
so great.
Stand up, applaud. Yes.
Yeah. No. So, I actually had, you sometimes will hear people like be critical of like, oh, you read comic books, like, how silly, or I'll have people. I feel like I get that, somewhat, and then I loved that literature reference. Because I felt like, no, reading is reading.
Reading is reading.
You know, and and that's sort of what that showed. It was encouraging you, like reading, and I thought it was so great.
Well, and like Brian K. Vaughan has I think he's written some screenplays. I think he's been a showrunner for television. Like he's written across every medium. But one of the things that he wanted to do with Saga was tell a story that was uniquely a comic. Like it can only be told in this medium of the mixture of like arts and words. Like you can't really adapt this to film, or like, I mean, you could, but it would.
And that's the thing that
feels
he
like
said
it would
a lot
lose so
in
much.
interviews at the time. And I think it's partly that, like, I don't know if technology got to the point where we could do this, I don't know if he would really turn down them ever attempting to adapt it, but he did say that he was trying to make it a challenge to himself after, like, his earlier works got him, the book I was talking about, Why the Last Man, it started being picked up by enough people and read by enough people, and he was so obviously good at, like, specifically at sort of breaking your heart, at ensemble casts, at cliffhangers, they recruited him to work on Lost.
Right.
Yep. Wrote some of the better episodes of Lost.
They were sort of like, you're really good at this. So he had worked in both places for a number of years, and I think was getting, and it is certainly a skill to be able to write to, for instance, a medium of television where, like, think about what is practical as you're doing your stories. Think about what, like, you want to think both about how this can be executed and about the things you're working on, which is a valuable set of skills to have. But the vibe I got from a lot of those interviews is that he was like, okay, I got good at this thing for a while, but I don't want to lose this other side of me that says the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find this insanely imaginative artist and just every time we think of something, be like, weirder than that, bigger than that, more out there than that. And that's like, so I think that's what may be behind some of the comments about, like, I wanted to do something no one could possibly adapt, because he wanted to talk himself out of that practical voice that says, like, you can't give everybody horns.
He just wanted to
That'll be
like,
expensive. And he's like, no, we can do whatever we want.
Do whatever we want.
I mean, even the spaceship that they talk
no,
about.
Feel I think that's not a spoiler.
I don't know,
feel
is
free.
that a spoiler?
Oh, no.
I mean, I have to say,
I think that's
it's very cool and very, you know.
They're not on either one of their homeworlds where it starts, right? They're on Cleve, which is like an enemy.
Well, he was also Marco had turned himself in as a conscientious
observer,
and she was a prison guard at that point.
And that's how they met.
And that's how they met.
Right.
And
they bonded over a book.
Yeah.
And they bonded over a book. That's
and
right.
Then she like, not too many spoilers, but she ends up helping him break out. And as they run away. But
even like, okay, am I allowed to say like the specificity of the dialogue that happens when they're intimate together?
Sure. Go.
Okay, I mean, because it was just an example of like how real, like, so they're having sex, and she apparently, in the height of how exciting the sex is like, you know, come inside me.
Yeah.
And then
give me a baby.
and then afterwards is like, I didn't really mean that.
What were you
he's
doing?
But that's
what are you doing? I don't want an actual.
Doing? Right, but and he's like, but that's what you said to do, and she's like, but that's just because, whatever.
And then she says, that was sexy, Alana.
Yeah, that was sexy.
Alana is obsessed with her nipples and things, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you can't trust her.
You can't trust sexy Alana.
For the record, for anyone concerned, it is very much, it is not a story of like, oh no, it is not a violation of trust.
Oh no,
it is like a wacky, adorable thing.
Wacky, adorable,
somehow.
totally
it's a
wacky.
meet cute. Yeah.
No, meet cute, wacky, adorable, but also like in the loving sense of like just truth. Like when do you ever see that
It's such an honest
conversation
book.
anywhere?
Yeah.
It's so, and there's just a lot of that level of honesty between two people that love each other and are also struggling. You know, like. I don't know.
One of my favorite
They have
quotes.
one of the best relationships I've ever read.
It's so because it's so real.
Yeah.
Like you can these are relationships that are like, yep.
Those are
I know that.
people I know.
But I brought that conversation up because that's where it's so after they meet when she's first his guard and then that escalates and becomes this intimate thing, then she gets pregnant.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer I'm a big believer this is a good book to give people who are not comic book readers. I've always been a fan of this.
I think that's true, and I think that's kind of what happened to me. I think
we used to call Why the Last Man a gateway drug, and it's like as soon as Saga came out, it was like, all right, try it.
Well, no, but Brian K. Vaughan just in general is such a good writer.
Yeah, it is.
But he's also so accessible. It feels like he's taking the audience by the hand and saying, all right, here are all the literary conventions that you love, but I've put them in a comic book, and it's okay. This is like whenever people ask me what Doctor Strange comics to read, I always point them to Brian K. Vaughan's because it's like Doctor Strange is like this. He's a hard character to get behind and like understand. There's such a big, long mythos behind him. But Brian K. Vaughan is like, no, this is easy. He's a sorcerer. Go, have fun. And oh, yeah, you're right. This is so easy.
It's odd because we talk a lot about his accessibility, and sometimes it comes out sounding like that's a backhanded compliment, like, oh, it's easy to read. But it really, it's this rare quality.
It's such incredible writing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But you can hand it to any mature adult who's ready to see some monster junk.
And this
is Coca-Cola, but
it's a visually stunning book, and visually it also brings you in. It's never too complicated to absorb, but it's also so deeply imaginative. And
the brilliant thing about comics is you can take your time. You can stare at that 2-page spread as long as you want, processing all of the information and then move on. I'm forced to brag again that I do have a piece of art from Fiona Staples. I have a piece of fan art from Fiona Staples in my comic book, my DC character.
Oh yeah, so that's right.
Just have to bring that out there again. That I do have. I like this was which I think I almost like crashed my car when like the text messages started rolling and I'm like, oh my god!
It has turned out that some artists like to watch his show where they play D&D because it makes good sort of
it's good background noise for getting stuff done.
They're getting into adventures and they can sort of
great.
So Fiona Staples drew his character.
Yeah. So happy.
Wow, that's pretty.
He's a very interesting gentleman with horns.
Yeah, he's a very interesting gentleman with horns. He's quite pleasing. So.
You can't use the past tense.
No.
I'm sorry.
I know. Welcome to spoilers. Yeah, is fine.
Like one of the other things about the book that I love, and we do need to start wrapping it up. We need to get to our topic and everything. Sorry, but there's so many like nuggets of wisdom all throughout, like this sort of like existential, like humanistic, like just like this. Like one of my favorites is life is mostly learning how to lose. It's like yeah, there's some wisdom there, like because it's so true.
This was again with the things I had paged down. Yeah, which is all.
I've got it saved right there.
Yeah, and is that Hazel's voice?
Yeah, this is Hazel like narrating it.
Yeah, and Hazel, I think throughout the whole thing has a number of these
like
these nuggets
pearls,
of pearls that you feel like they should be the snapshot on your phone screensaver or something. Like just to remember
she's very good at reminding you when to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like okay, this has been like this is very important right here.
Well, and it's become like a great writing convention for Brian K. Vaughan too, because you'll get like this, oh my God, I can't believe he just did all this and he did all this, and then you'll hear Hazel's voice like, life is mostly a series of learning how to lose, and then he'll cut to like a really funny thing that also deals with losing. So like her voice ends up becoming kind of like this transitionary device between larger than life events that then get boiled down to tiny human events in the next page, but like they're both he's just the most brilliant writer.
And the mix of just honesty about like bodies and how they work, up to the greatest philosophies about war and peace, all side by side, because that's how it works. Like quips and deep thoughts and good decisions and bad decisions all jumbled up together. I don't know how
there's another one here, Gus talking to who is the drug lady who...
Oh, the ex-wife.
The ex-wife. I can't remember her name.
She's great. I know. I'm hold on. I have a button for that.
Oh, I'm blanking.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
I can't remember her name, but she's great. Great character for a while. But one of my favorite quotes comes from Gus. He says, "A fella is more than his worst 3 days." Because like she's like, I'm such a bad person. I've done all these awful, terrible things. And he says, sure, I've done plenty of stuff I'm none too proud of. But it's like a fella I knew once said, a fella is more than his worst 3 days.
Yeah, I loved that line.
Yuma, I'm so sorry.
You're getting all the lines that stood out to me.
Well, that's because we're the same
just,
person.
Yeah, we are the same person. And we're probably the only two people that feel that way about that line. Yeah. But yeah, like that, I just like, how many days have you had in your, like for me, I just feel like that is a really nice thing to hear, to remind myself.
There's something very reassuring about it.
A person is better than their worst 3 days. You know, that's important to know,
well,
to give yourself a little bit of a break.
Well, like I know, like we've talked about on the show before, like all of us deal with some level of depression, clinical depression, and it's like I had kind of a crash a couple weeks ago, and my wife was saying stuff like, sweetheart, you're not a bad person. Like, yes, there are things that you could have done better or were, but that does not define who you are. Your actions do not define you necessarily. So
or they aren't all there is to you.
Yeah.
There's other. You are more than that.
No, there's a lot of that in there. So I think it's a great place to go to be thoughtful, to be entertained, to be uplifted.
To have an emotional roller coaster every single issue.
I don't want to bring this up, but I'm curious. Some folks have the theory that the reason for this extended break might be that they maybe have an end in sight, and they want to make sure they get as far along in it before they come back as they can. Would you be okay with that, or do we want this to run for 25 more years?
Every story has to have an ending, but...
Oh, I guess every story has to have an ending.
I'm a big fan of endings. I'm glad that some of the things that I love are going to go on forever, but like... I'd like... Endings
are good. Endings are what give the story its meaning.
I'm going to remind you all, you've said this, when we're all puddles of tears.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm ready for it.
I also read that, they just need time to be with their families and all of that stuff, and that's important, too. Like, I feel good about the fact that they're getting rejuvenated on their break.
I want Brian K. Vaughan to write out the rules to that board game they play in, like, Volume 2.
Oh, yes.
Like that insane...
Now wrestle. Wait, what?
Pictionary, half wrestling.
You did Pictionary, now you wrestle? Okay, we do have to get to our topic because we only got a few minutes left. I'm so sorry. Do we have one?
We have one. So when you're ready, address the camera.
You ready?
As if we were on the YouTubes.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Club. You can catch us every single Wednesday on the Geek and Sundry Twitch, also on ProjectAlpha.com on our VOD service. Today we've been talking with the wonderful and incredible Teri Hatcher about Saga. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples comic, and we have a topic from the audience.
Yes, it comes from Mr. Certainly. Mr. Certainly.
Mr. Certainly.
Sure.
I like it.
Certainly.
Very Neil Gaiman.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Sporadically. And the topic is a comic book character of your choice, although I have a funny feeling we're going to come up with several of them. How would they handle a competitive cooking show? Who would win and lose?
Comic book character of your choice.
So do we have
5 minutes on the clock yet? Let's go. Let's do it.
I think we're supposed to cast a cooking show.
Repeat the question one more time.
A comic book character of your choice. How would they handle a competitive cooking show? Who would win? Who would lose? Oh God! Now I have to think about which comic book characters should be allowed to cook.
So Wolverine would not be a good cook, but he would be very useful in the kitchen with his claws. Like, that's done. I diced the onion for you.
Oh my God!
I don't know. I was. Maybe I should be Lois. Lois
would probably be good in the kitchen.
Well, she's probably actually a horrible cook because she was so good at her journalism job and just so like. But
she could
that said,
study.
she probably studied all the recipes and she probably would know how to figure out how to make everything.
If she gave herself the time to actually.
That's what I'm thinking. She could follow a recipe really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I buy it.
Not an instinctual
Plus, she's a
cook,
hard worker, so maybe she would be good to have on your team.
But Superman's mom, I bet.
That's true.
Oh God.
Martha's
She'd probably make everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, you know, I don't know that she would necessarily have any reason to have, like, the broadest repertoire of stuff. She seems like someone who would be like, here are my basics, and they're great, and here's the stuff I do for fun, and it's great. But I don't know if she's, like, a hobby cook who's, like, and here's weird inverted duck things. I don't know food words.
An inverted duck?
That's not a food word.
You know, fancy things. Cordon bleu things.
Maybe who would like dive down in the ocean and get all the lobsters and abalones and then come up and like just do some crazy seafood
Man,
spread?
Namor can't cook. Hold on, let's think.
Well, I was
don't
thinking
know.
Aquaman, but I think Aquaman loves the ocean life too much.
Oh, so you wouldn't want to kill it?
Well, I don't know. Like, is Aquaman a
In
vegetarian?
the opening of the Jeff Johns Aquaman, he goes to a seafood restaurant and they totally make fun of him. And it's like,
Yes, I remember that.
It is
Yeah.
one of those where he's just like, this is, okay, guys, it's normal. Like,
It's normal. I eat fish. It's okay.
that's how I remember it anyway.
I bet I have a theory of Tony Stark only knows how to make one thing.
Oh,
but he
I was
makes
just
it
thinking he would make everything, but what? Yeah.
No, just like he knows how to make an omelet, which is like his morning,
it's
his like
breakfast.
No, it's
Yeah.
a breakfast food. It's the only thing he knows how to make.
But you know they do say in the chef world like that if you can make a great omelet that is the test of
man.
It's
like
the only
if
thing he
you're-
knows how to do.
So I'm a good cook, is what you're saying.
If you can make a really
According
good
to
omelet,
every chef in the world, I'm a good
if
cook,
you
is what
can
you're
make
saying.
a really good omelet,
I
that's
can
a
make
good sign.
damn good omelet.
Okay,
Who
well
from
then.
the world of Saga is the best cook?
Oh, man.
Who would win our competitive cooking show?
Probably, I'm going to say Marco's dad.
Oh, Marco's dad.
Like, not his mom.
I know,
mom,
right? Wait,
but
why did I
Marco's
have
dad
that
would
reaction?
probably be a
I mean,
great
maybe
cook.
he's the bad guy. I feel he would handle it well, yeah.
I think the babysitter knows how to cook really well.
Isabel?
Yeah, I think Izzy's
The
had
ghost?
time.
The phantom?
She's had time.
Do you think Gwendolyn would be a good cook?
No.
No.
If she set her mind to it, she'd have a Lois
Yeah.
Lane quality where if that
Yeah.
was the challenge, I feel like she'd make it happen.
Yeah.
One of the two reporters, I bet, is a great.
I was thinking that
Yeah?
too. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
short one.
The short one.
photographer.
Yeah, the short.
one.
He's kind of got the beard going on,
Yeah.
right? The 5 o'clock show. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would be a good
Oh, there was
Yeah, that was
Gwendolyn.
Gwen.
Yeah. She just walk into the kitchen and be like, "I'm the boss. This is what's being made."
That's true. She would run the kitchen well.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd be like, is everyone doing that? Great. Fantastic.
The stock probably can't cook very
No,
well,
no. Why,
I'm
it's-
guessing.
Quite all
Although
that.
with all her arms,
Oh, she'd be an amazing, like...
she could be like Benihana
a lot
whatever.
of good knife work, but that's pretty much it.
Lion Cat, probably not a great chef.
I mean, opposable
But the
thumbs are
best
kind of.
judge,
but,
Lion
yes.
Cat
Yes,
could
that's
judge
true.
the contest.
Yeah,
Right.
Lion Cat would be able to say if we actually loved your salmon lettuce, which we did. We did love those. Those were
They were
delicious.
so
They were so good. Oh man. Okay.
I mean, like outside of Saga, I have like a weird thing where I deeply believe Nightcrawler can cook, which is like.
Oh.
I was just
seems like-
asking myself if I think Nightcrawler could cook, and I don't think he can. I disagree with you.
You disagree?
I don't think he.
This is the blue furry X-Men who teleports around.
Yeah, no, I'm just madly trying to think of every character I can think of, like with Superman, you know,
Superman,
Supergirl,
I think Superman
Spider-Man.
can cook. I mean, like
You
I
think
feel like
Superman can cook?
I
Yeah.
feel like Superman can cook.
yeah, I
and I
agree.
recall there was a Superman comic book where I learned that you can put cheddar cheese on pie, and that's a thing.
Wait, what was the actual
Wait, would
question?
Deadpool be a cook?
Oh.
Deadpool probably only
Yeah.
knows how to make chimichangas.
No, I,
Specifically Mexican food, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's,
but I
you
feel
know,
like
why
he
eat
would
anything
deep
else?
dive.
Yeah?
Huh?
I feel like he would have deep dived into that to like be really good.
I feel like he would
Maybe. Yeah.
get an obsession with something and then go down that rabbit hole. See, he certainly has that seemingly obsessive nature to him.
I would
yeah.
eat Deadpool
see
food.
that.
I would eat.
Well, you
I would
watch
eat at
that. It'll be
Deadpool
made
restaurant.
of Deadpool. Okay?
All right, that has been our 5-minute topic.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for watching. From everyone at the Wednesday Club, which you can watch every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time on the Geek and Sundry channel. I'm Matt Key. We've got
I'm Amy Dallen.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe.
and super duper special guest Teri Hatcher.
Who you should check out, since you are on YouTube right now, probably, at YouTube Hatching Change for
Yes.
actually useful food talk
Yes.
with real food words.
With real food words.
real food
That's
words
right.
and van
Where-
therapy.
and right,
Inverted duck.
and real people talking in a van. That's right. Check
It's all
out
very
the
real.
channel.
Go check out Hatching Chain.
Thank you.
All right, well, we've got 2
Just a
minutes
couple
left, 3
minutes
minutes left. So thank you for coming on.
This has been such a pleasure.
This is so much fun. You guys
Such
are
an honor.
so great. Oh my God, this is so much fun.
Yep.
And I just feel so happy to have found people that can talk to my.
Oh man, we can talk obsessed.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
For,
I'm going to completely check out the one that you're recommending, the other one that he wrote.
Please do.
Yeah.
One Less Man. I hope you love it. Please keep us updated.
I'm sure that I will. It's kind of like when you, you watch television show and then you get through the television show and there's none of it left and then you're just like, what's the next television show? So
what does Brian Fuller make now?
Yeah.
Immediately.
So I'm very, very excited.
I also offer you Bitch Planet.
I already am reading that. I'm already reading that. Yes, I'm already reading that.
I love that book.
It's so good. I love it.
I think I have 2 books of that so far. And I read Paper Girls. I read that.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on that one.
Yeah.
But that's so good.
More amazing science fiction. Oh, I'm so excited. A big thank you to A Shop Called Quest.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shop Called Quest, for getting me into comics.
I need to find them.
So excited.
Yeah, and when you're down there, just come find me because I live right around the corner.
Excellent.
Bring everybody.
Every single door.
Now, just knock on every door,
We've
you'll
been
find
making
me.
downtown LA plans for a while now because there's like reasons.
You really do have to.
I love
just
DTLA.
Just text me.
Hey, what up,
Just text
Ter?
me.
Hey, Ter Bear, I'm coming by your shop.
Okay.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for Weave at 9:30.
Is Gina holding court?
Hey, Emmy, remember that thing I warned you about? It happened. So, no, it's Amy.
It's me.
Oh.
And I'm definitely prepared, so this is going to be great.
Yay! Amy's leading Weave, and you saw a real-time reaction.
Did I hear sarcasm?
It's fine.
Oh, it's fine. It's totally
Stay
fine.
tuned for
The
that.
players are great.
And we've got, we've got a lot of good shows on our channel.
Well, you know what's coming up soon, and see you guys in New York
See
Comic
some
Con.
of you in New York.
See some of you in New
I'll
York.
see you there too.
And thank you for being on our show. Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Everybody,
Thank you for
goodbye.
having
We love
me.
you.
Bye.